Chapter 30-23. The restrictions in the immortal gazing ridge were very powerful and terrifying. The slightest carelessness could cause one to be killed by these restrictions. However, it was very difficult for the restrictions in the immortal gazing ridge to hurt Lin Feng. Because he was proficient in this Tao, even if he could not break the restrictions in the immortal gazing ridge, it was not difficult for him to successfully avoid the restrictions here. The truly terrifying thing in the immortal gazing ridge was the danger zone creatures. Those unknown and terrifying creatures possessed battle prowess that made one pale with fright. When those terrifying creatures attacked, it would be a disastrous thing. Those danger zone creatures even dared to besiege a group of great Emperor realm powerhouses. From this, one could see how tyrannical those danger zone creatures were. Although Lin Feng did not see any danger zone creatures staring at him, Lin Feng felt the other party's aura. It was an aura that was almost undetectable, but Lin Feng had always been extremely confident in his divine sense. Sometimes, a faint sense of oppression would arise in his heart. It would always arouse his vigilance. And now, it was not as simple as a sense of oppression. Now, Lin Feng felt a gloomy and cold aura enveloping his whole body. He was definitely being targeted by the danger zone creatures. Otherwise, he would not have such a feeling. Lin Feng came to the place where the danger zone creatures fought with Tian Fa Demon Venerable and others. It was a mess. Blood dyed the ground red, but he did not know whether it was Emperor blood or the blood of those danger zone creatures. Before this, Lin Feng had not dared to get too close to this place, because he was worried that he would be involved, which would be an extremely terrifying thing. He might even lose his life because of it. After coming here, the gloomy and cold aura became more and more obvious. Lin Feng felt that the danger zone creatures staring at him were quickly approaching him. "I don't know what it is." Lin Feng could not help but frown. He sped up again, but at this time, Lin Feng was shocked to find that darkness shrouded him. The light in all directions disappeared in an instant. "It's coming!" Lin Feng was horrified. An unknown dangerous creature had arrived, and it wasn't afraid of the mysterious iron box he was carrying on his back. What was happening in front of him was too terrifying, and he couldn't help but feel suffocated. Lin Feng hurriedly took down the mysterious iron box, and started to crack the restrictions on the mysterious iron box. After the mysterious iron box was opened, the dismembered corpses would be revealed, and they would be able to erupt with a terrifying pressure. Because the identity of the dismembered corpse was too extraordinary. Even Lin Feng didn't know the identity of the dismembered corpse. However, dismembered corpses could play an important role in critical moments. The darkness quickly surged, and Lin Feng was about to be submerged in it. Lin Feng felt his hands and feet turn cold and stiff. He almost couldn't control his body. The danger zone creatures in the darkness were too tyrannical. He didn't know what level they were at. Fortunately, at this time, Lin Feng successfully opened the mysterious iron box. The moment the mysterious iron box was opened, a wave of destructive energy gushed out from the mysterious iron box. Lin Feng was sent flying. Screech! The existence in the darkness let out a sharp and ear-piercing cry. That existence seemed to recognize the origin of the dismembered corpse in the mysterious iron box, and was completely shocked. That mysterious existence quickly left, and the darkness quickly dissipated. The mysterious iron box was very strange. It had an extremely strong pressure and deterrence to these creatures in the danger zone. Lin Feng didn't know why it had such a strong deterrence and pressure. He previously guessed that the dismembered corpse in the mysterious iron box was the supreme existence in the danger zone when it was alive. Therefore, even though it was only a dismembered corpse now, it still had an unbearable pressure to these terrifying creatures in the danger zone. Of course, this was only Lin Feng's guess. Lin Feng didn't know if the dismembered corpse was really the supreme existence in the danger zone when it was alive. He hurriedly got up from the ground, and then rushed to the iron box, and sealed it once again. At this moment, Lin Feng let out a sigh of relief. With the increase of his cultivation, Lin Feng was still injured when he opened the iron box, but his injuries weren't as serious as before. He activated his immortal divine body and healed his injuries. Then, Lin Feng carried the iron box on his back, and continued to walk towards the depths. 2 hours later, he finally saw the world of darkness. It was a distorted world, and it was as black as ink. That world was like the world of the dead, and gusts of chilly wind blew out from that world of darkness. When he arrived here, the ancient devil ring flew out of its own accord, and then flew towards the world of darkness. Lin Feng grabbed the ancient devil ring, and then entered the world of darkness with it. He had already intertwined with the ancient devil ring countless times. It was difficult to separate them anymore. Lin Feng felt that perhaps only by uncovering the secrets of the ancient devil ring could he find out. Only then would he be able to escape from those unknown and terrifying dangers. The world of darkness was very dark. The ancient devil ring vibrated with a special power, and it entered Lin Feng's body. It seemed to be guiding Lin Feng where to go. Whoa! The sobbing sound that had disappeared for a long time resounded once again. This was the sobbing sound of a woman, but it was so mournful. What did she go through in the past to let out such a mournful sob? Lin Feng's mood became even more solemn. This world of darkness was indeed very strange. Suddenly, the surrounding black fog started to churn. Within the black fog, the sound of chewing could be heard. The sound came from afar, and it was so clear that Lin Feng's body couldn't help but tremble. What is this sound? Lin Feng's expression was very solemn. Not long after, he saw a black shadow squatting on the ground, and it seemed to be chewing on something. Lin Feng was shocked. What was that black shadow? He got closer, and finally saw clearly what that black shadow was chewing on. It was actually a dead great emperor. Previously, Lin Feng saw the heaven punishment demon Venerable, and the others enter this place. The dead cultivator was one of them. This was a great emperor-level expert from a reclusive family or sect. Now, he had fallen and become food for this black shadow. The black shadow moved towards Lin Feng's location. Lin Feng couldn't see the black shadow's appearance. He only saw a pair of pale green eyes. And those eyes? They were staring at Lin Feng. Whoosh! Lin Feng was terrified. He didn't dare to stay, and he quickly flew into the distance. The terrifying black shadow didn't chase after him, and he let out a long sigh of relief. But not long after, something even more terrifying happened. A sinister wind whistled. Lin Feng could faintly smell the scent of blood in the wind. In the distance, a blood-red demonic cloud flew over quickly. Chapter 30-24. The fluctuations emitted from the blood-colored demonic cloud were extremely terrifying, shocking and moving people. When he saw the blood-colored demonic cloud flying towards him, Lin Feng's face turned serious. He chose to fly in another direction to avoid the blood-colored demonic cloud. However, the blood-colored demonic cloud was extremely demonic. It quickly chased after him, and then a huge vortex appeared in the blood-colored demonic cloud. The huge vortex emitted a tyrannical devouring power that enveloped Lin Feng. It actually wanted to devour Lin Feng. What a strange blood-colored demonic cloud! Lin Feng looked at the blood-colored demonic cloud in shock. The blood-colored demonic cloud that appeared in front of him was really strange. In the face of the blood-colored demonic cloud's attack, Lin Feng took out the black flame bow and continuously shot a dozen arrows at the blood-colored demonic cloud. The arrows could shatter the void and shatter the universe. The power was so strong that it was shocking. The energy arrows instantly flew into the blood-colored demonic cloud. Then, they exploded. However, they were unable to cause any damage to the blood-colored demonic cloud. The blood-colored demonic cloud was really terrifying. It seemed to be able to devour any attack. After Lin Feng's body was enveloped by the blood-colored demonic cloud, he was flying towards it bit by bit. At this time, the energy arrows shot by the black flame bow were unable to harm the blood-colored demonic cloud. This made Lin Feng feel very troubled. This time, he might really be in trouble. The blood-colored demonic cloud was so strange and terrifying. If he was really devoured by the blood-colored demonic cloud, what would happen? Lin Feng then took out the stone sword, the 5-dragon wheel, and the sky drum to deal with the blood-colored demonic cloud. However, it was useless. The blood-colored demonic cloud was terrifying because it could ignore all kinds of attacks. This was really too shocking. However, others couldn't ignore the blood-colored demonic cloud's attacks. Therefore, Lin Feng was in trouble now. After collecting these magic treasures, Lin Feng tried to break out of the encirclement. However, several attempts ended in failure. The blood-colored demonic cloud was really strange. It was as if it had its own thoughts. It was just a demonic cloud. Could it have developed its own consciousness? This made Lin Feng feel very puzzled. The blood-red demonic cloud's devouring power grew stronger and stronger. Just as Lin Feng was about to be devoured by the blood-red demonic cloud, at this critical juncture, the ancient devil ring, which had been quiet all this time, suddenly emitted a powerful demonic light. The demonic light wrapped around Lin Feng. And Mo Guang was really extraordinary. He directly broke through the shroud of the blood-red demon clouds, and then turned into a bolt of lightning, and rushed into the distance. The blood-red cloud was not willing to let Lin Feng get away just like that, so it chased after him. But in the end, the blood-red cloud failed to catch up to Lin Feng. 2 hours later, the demonic light dissipated, and Lin Feng landed in an ancient forest. The world of darkness was emitting a cold and terrifying aura. Lin Feng looked around cautiously. This place was too terrifying. He had to be cautious at all times. Otherwise, it was very likely that he would die. That blood-red demonic cloud reminded me of a legendary item, the Demon Lord said. What item? Lin Feng asked curiously. The Demon Lord said, according to the legends, the great sage, Heaven's Equal, can fly 108,000 li with a single somersault. This is not a rumor. It is said to be true. I've heard of that rumor before, but it sounds a little too unbelievable. 108,000 li? How far is that? Doesn't that mean one can reach outer space from the 9 provinces with a single somersault? Lin Feng said. The Demon Lord nodded and said, indeed. It is said that the great sage, Heaven's Equal's speed is related to a treasure he has. This treasure is called the Somersault Cloud. It is said that the Somersault Cloud is a demonic cloud that can greatly increase a cultivator's speed. It was later subdued by the great sage, Heaven's Equal, and became one of his most powerful treasures. This, Lin Feng was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of such a thing. This matter did sound a little inconceivable. Lin Feng had always thought that the somersault cloud was a powerful ability. Who would have thought that the somersault cloud mentioned by the Demon Lord was actually a demonic cloud that the great sage, Heaven's Equal, had refined? Are you saying that if I can refine that blood-red demonic cloud, my speed will be as shocking as the great sage, Heaven's Equal's? Lin Feng asked. The Demon Lord said, even if you can't reach the great sage, Heaven's Equal's speed, it should be close. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, that blood-red demonic cloud is too powerful. It is impossible to refine it. The Demon Lord did not say anything else. Lin Feng had no intention of refining the blood-red demonic cloud. Even if a great emperor came, they would probably die if they encountered the cloud. If not for the ancient devil ring, it would not have been easy for him to escape from the blood-red demonic cloud's attack. Lin Feng knew this very well. It was because he knew how powerful and terrifying the blood-red demonic cloud was that Lin Feng knew that it was impossible to refine it. Whoa! The sound of crying rang in his ears, becoming clearer and clearer. Ever since Lin Feng entered the world of darkness, this sound had not stopped. Brother Fan, hurry up and come over! Suddenly, the sound of crying disappeared. It was replaced by the pleasant voice of the girl in the dream. When Lin Feng heard this voice, all the hairs on his body stood on end. Why did the voice in the dream appear in reality? Could it be that the owner of the crying voice was that girl? Who was the brother Fan that the girl was talking about? Lin Feng remembered everything that had happened in the dream. The girl had called him Brother Fan. But he was not this so-called Brother Fan. Now, the girl's voice rang out again, and this time, she called him Brother Fan. Lin Feng's heart was filled with too many doubts. Brother Fan, Yu Xian is waiting for you here. Hurry up and find Yu Xian. The girl's voice continued to ring in Lin Feng's mind. Then, a road map appeared in Lin Feng's mind. The road map seemed to lead to the girl's location. Lin Feng's expression was uncertain. In the end, he gritted his teeth and quickly followed the road map in his mind. Since he was already in the world of darkness, no matter what happened, he had to face it. He did not choose to run away. Chapter 30-25. Roar! A deep roar came from the front. A gigantic creature stood up in the darkness. When Lin Feng saw that gigantic creature, he couldn't help but be astonished. It was a 9-headed fiendish python. According to the classic of mountains and seas, the 9-headed fiendish python had the body of a dragon, the head of a snake, and a pair of wings. It guarded the edge of the underworld water. What kind of place was Ming Shui referring to? The underworld water was a terrifying place in the underworld called the Underworld Lake. It was said that the Underworld Lake was the place where countless evil spirits were buried. Furthermore, evil spirits that could be buried in lake Styx were definitely abnormally terrifying existences. The 9-headed fiendish python was guarding the Underworld Lake. It was obvious how powerful the 9-headed fiendish python was. Such a powerful creature had appeared in the world of darkness. The 9-headed fiendish python stopped a group of cultivators. The group of cultivators was none other than Su Tianqing and the great emperors from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces. When these great emperors gathered together, their combat strength was terrifying. Although they had fought a few battles along the way, they had the advantage in numbers. Hence, they had won all the battles. Now, they had encountered another creature from the world of darkness. It was the 9-headed fiendish python in front of them. A mere beast dares to stop us. Its venomous fangs are not bad. They can be made into a powerful magic weapon. One of the great emperors sneered. His eyes were filled with cold, killing intent. The other great emperors sneered as well. They wanted to kill the 9-headed fiendish python. Lin Feng looked over from afar. He raised his eyebrows slightly. This group of people was too terrifying. No wonder the great emperor was so confident. The 9-headed fiendish python is going to be killed, right? Lin Feng muttered to himself. He felt that the 9-headed fiendish python was likely to be killed. Although the 9-headed fiendish python was powerful, it could not deal with a group of great emperors. Moreover, there were some high-level great emperors among them. Their combat strength was heaven-defying. Rumble! Just as the great emperors were about to kill the 9-headed fiendish python. Suddenly, the ground shook violently. Then cracking sounds could be heard. The earth split open, and dense cracks appeared. Roar, roar, roar! A series of deep roars came from the cracked abyss. Immediately afterward, a series of gigantic skeletal creatures crawled out. There were a total of 13 skeletal creatures, and each of them emitted a suffocating pressure. They're all Emperor-level skeletons. After seeing the skeletons, Lin Feng was shocked. They were all great Emperor-level skeletons. It was too shocking. Those skeletal creatures were clearly transformed from experts who had died. They were now a type of undead. Lin Feng guessed that the skeletons had already developed a new consciousness. Every skeletal being was surrounded by a layer of death energy. Their eyes were ghastly pale. It was different from the green will-o'-the-wisps in the eyes of ordinary undead creatures. The flames in their eyes. They were pale white flames. As for why the will-o'-the-wisps were of such a color, Lin Feng had no idea. After the skeletons appeared, a sharp, ear-piercing cry came from afar. Huge beasts flew over. There were 7 pitch-black skeletal dragons. Each of the skeletal dragons emitted a terrifying aura. These skeletal dragons' auras were vaguely stronger than those of the skeletons. Heavens, these skeletal dragons are all at least great emperor level. How can there be so many powerful undead creatures in this place? Could it be that many experts were buried here in the past? Lin Feng looked grave and solemn because he had the feeling that the situation wasn't simple. Although these undead creatures were very powerful now, they weren't truly powerful now. They were powerful when they were alive. How terrifying were they when they were alive? After they died, they turned into undead creatures that could reach the Great Emperor level? It was just a simple thought. It was enough to make one's expression change. It's not good to fight with these undead creatures. Let's leave this place quickly, Su Tianxing said in a deep voice. The other Great Emperor's expressions turned grave. Previously, they only saw the nine-headed fiendish python and thought that it was acting alone. Therefore, they were confident that they could kill the nine-headed fiendish python. But who would have thought? There were so many terrifying undead creatures here. The group of Great Emperors planned to leave, but at that moment, the nine-headed fiendish python let out a sharp, ear-piercing cry. Then, the undead creatures, including the skeletons, and the skeletal dragons, all launched a fierce attack on the Great Emperors. The nine-headed fiendish python also joined in the battle. It attacked the Great Emperors together with the undead creatures. Boom! Then, a terrifying battle broke out. Su Tianxing, the myriad races, the extraterritorial races, and the other Great Emperors fought the undead creatures led by the nine-headed fiendish python. The battle was extremely tragic. People were constantly injured. However, these Great Emperors were indeed powerful. Not only did they have boundless magic power and remarkable abilities, but they also had many powerful magic treasures. Therefore, they had the upper hand. Only people on their side were injured, but the undead creatures were constantly being killed. Their bodies were smashed into pieces. Their bones were scattered all over the ground. The rest of the undead creatures continued to attack the group of Great Emperors fearlessly. The group of Great Emperors looked gloomy. They did not plan to continue fighting because it was too dangerous. They might attract more undead creatures. Even if they killed the undead creatures, it would not be of any use to them. Therefore, these Great Emperors wanted to leave quickly. However, they were held back by the nine-headed fiendish python and the remaining undead creatures. At this moment, something strange happened. The undead creatures that were killed instantly reassembled their bodies and began to fight the Great Emperors at close range. The group of Great Emperors was not prepared at all. Some of the Great Emperors with fast reactions or extremely powerful Great Emperors dodged the attacks of the reassembled undead creatures. However, many Great Emperors did not dodge the attacks of the reassembled undead creatures. Poochie! 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 Chapter 30-26. They're actually undead creatures. Lin Feng looked at the undead creatures in shock. He'd heard Taoist Wu Liang talk about the different types of undead creatures. The highest level of undead creatures was the undead creatures. These undead creatures were immortal. Even if they were killed, they could be resurrected. However, undead creatures were extremely rare, even in the netherworld. These undead creatures were all undead creatures. Lin Feng was shocked. Because Taoist Wu Liang often excavated ancient tombs, he'd encountered undead creatures before. Every time they encountered an undead creature, they would suffer a lot, and they would have a narrow escape. These creatures couldn't be killed. If you slashed at them, they'd be fine. But what if you were slashed? That would be a serious problem. Undead creatures! They're undead creatures! Break through with all your might! Su Tianxing couldn't help but shout. The other Great Emperor's expressions changed. They were no longer as calm as before. The undead creatures were too terrifying. Even though they were all Great Emperors, they still found it difficult to deal with these undead creatures. The battle grew more and more intense. Many Great Emperors were seriously injured. A few more Great Emperors were killed one after another. In the end, Xing Daoxuan took out an immortal talisman. That immortal talisman was extremely precious. It repelled a group of undead creatures, allowing the remaining Great Emperors to break through. After the nine-headed fiendish python swallowed the Great Emperor's corpse, it led a group of undead creatures to chase after the Great Emperors. Soon, peace was restored. It was as if nothing had happened. However, Lin Feng couldn't calm down after witnessing what had happened. Those who died were all Great Emperors. Which one of them wasn't an overlord of the Starfield world? But now, they'd been killed just like that. They'd even become the 9-headed fiendish python's food. Everything that was happening before his eyes was simply too shocking. Great emperors weren't invincible. Even if they'd cultivated to the great emperor realm, they could still die at any time. However, the great emperors who had died before were all great emperors from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, or other great emperors from other factions. Therefore, Lin Feng was quite happy. These forces were all ambitious and had always wanted to occupy the 9 provinces and enslave the cultivators of the 9 provinces. The more they died, the better. Lin Feng quickly left this troublesome place and continued to head deeper. One day later, Lin Feng was attacked. A cultivator with only half his body left attacked Lin Feng, sending a palm strike towards Lin Feng. This was an injured myriad race great monarch, a cultivator from the silver goblin race. This cultivator had long silver hair and was very handsome. However, his face was now distorted. Originally, he was extremely powerful and his battle prowess was unparalleled. But now, he only had half of his body left, and his combat strength was probably not even 10% of his peak. If not for his profound cultivation base, he would have died long ago. Until now, he had been struggling at death's door. The heavens have not forsaken me. I want to possess another body and be reborn, this silver goblin race great monarch said eerily. He treated Lin Feng as his target for possession and rebirth. His blood was about to run dry. This person did not have the ability of Lin Feng's immortal divine body. If he delayed any longer, his physical body would be completely destroyed. Without the protection of his physical body, his soul would soon turn into ashes. Lin Feng's appearance had given him a ray of hope. Lin Feng's reaction was fast enough. He hurriedly took out the heavenly mystery pagoda to protect himself. Bang! At this moment, the silver goblin race great monarch's palm strike had already arrived. However, it was blocked by the energy shield released by the heavenly mystery pagoda. Lin Feng was sent flying by the palm strike. However, he did not suffer any injuries. If this silver goblin race great monarch was at his peak, Lin Feng would probably be injured even if he took out the heavenly mystery pagoda to protect himself. But now, the silver goblin race great monarch's combat strength had dropped too much due to his injuries. His blood was about to run dry, and the power of his bloodline could not be activated. He was basically an arrow at the end of its flight. What did Lin Feng have to fear? He's so badly injured. It seems like he was injured by those undead creatures. As a great monarch, you're high and mighty and look down on everything. Now that you've fallen to such a state, I wonder how you feel? Lin Feng could not help but look at the silver goblin race great monarch mockingly. Kid, you're about to die, yet you still dare to provoke this great monarch? You really don't know what's good for you. This great monarch has no time to chat with you. Quickly accept your death. The silver goblin race great monarch laughed sinisterly. Then, he leaped out and pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered. You've lost all your blood. You're already half dead. How dare you boast in front of yours truly? You really don't know what's good for you. Today, yours truly will kill you and devour your origin and soul to increase my cultivation. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng took out the sky drum and the 2 stone swords. When he saw that the silver goblin race great monarch was injured, Lin Feng had the intention to kill him. A great monarch who had suffered such serious injuries would have his combat strength almost depleted. He was the best target to attack. Kill this person and refine his origin. His cultivation would increase tremendously. Moreover, Lin Feng believed that with his own means, it would not be a problem to kill this great monarch. Dong! 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 Lin Feng struck the sky drum. Suddenly, an earth-shattering sound could be heard. The sky drum was terrifying. It could cause great damage to one's physical body and soul. Now that the silver goblin race great monarch was seriously injured, his willpower was at its weakest. Therefore, when he heard the sky drum, the silver goblin race great monarch's soul suffered great damage. Arg! The silver goblin race great monarch let out a blood-curdling scream. Good chance! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Then, he took out the 2 stone swords and attacked the silver goblin race great monarch. Who would have thought that the silver goblin race great monarch would reach out his hands and grab the 2 stone swords in his hands? At the sight of this, Lin Feng's face was filled with disbelief. The silver goblin race great monarch was injured to such an extent, and he could still grab onto his stone swords. Just how terrifying was this guy at his peak? Lin Feng quickly regained his senses and took out the 9 demons picture. The 9 demons picture flew in front of the silver goblin race great monarch at lightning speed and swept towards him. The silver goblin race great monarch opened his mouth and spat out a ball of energy. When the energy ball hit the 9 demons portrait, it sent it flying. The silver goblin race great monarch laughed and said, "Lowly ant, do you think that you can go against me just because I'm seriously injured? You're simply indulging in fantasy." As soon as he said that, the silver goblin race great monarch started chanting. "Mount Tai Crush!" He roared, and a gigantic mountain descended from the sky. That gigantic mountain was the legendary supreme immortal mountain of the heaven realm. This immortal mountain was called Mount Tai. It was said that the masters of the 33 heavens would climb Mount Tai to offer sacrifices every year. After the immortal mountain was successfully formed. Chapter 30:27. What a powerful superpower! After sensing the power of the celestial mountain, Lin Feng couldn't help but be astonished. The great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan was already injured to such an extent, yet he was still able to unleash such a powerful technique. This really shocked Lin Feng. As expected, none of the great emperors could be underestimated. Even a great emperor like the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan who was about to die couldn't be underestimated. Once he looked down on these people, he was afraid that only death would await him. The current situation was extremely dangerous because the superpower that the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan had unleashed was extremely powerful. However, it wasn't as if Lin Feng didn't have any way to deal with it. Facing the attack of the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan, Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer and say, "Although your superpower is strong, you're already at the end of your life. You still can't cause any harm to me." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng attacked and condensed an invincible punch. Then, he threw a punch at the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan. This punch was the supreme reincarnation punch that he had created himself. When this punch was activated, the superpower formations in Lin Feng's body revolved around the supreme reincarnation punch's superpower formation. Bam bam bam! Lin Feng threw punch after punch at the celestial mountain. Earth-shaking collision sounds could be heard. The supreme reincarnation punch displayed a heaven-defying fighting power. After 36 consecutive punches, cracking sounds could be heard. The celestial mountain that the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan had condensed shattered. Lin Feng rushed forward and threw another invincible punch. Bam! This punch once again landed on the celestial mountain that had already cracked open. In an instant, the celestial mountain shattered. How is this possible? The great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan cried out in disbelief. Although he was indeed at the end of his life, he was a great emperor after all. Even if he was a great emperor at the end of his life, wouldn't it be a piece of cake for him to deal with a boundary emperor? However, the real situation was completely different from what he had imagined. Lin Feng, a quasi-emperor realm cultivator, was actually able to neutralize his various attacks. This made the Silver Goblin race great emperor feel extremely incredulous. However, all of this was real. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor had no choice but to believe it. Nothing is impossible in this world. Lin Feng's expression was cold as he dashed towards the great emperor of the Silver Goblin race. That invincible punch of his was hurled towards the great emperor of the Silver Goblin race. The great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan threw the stone sword in his hand at Lin Feng. He then turned around and fled into the distance. Lin Feng dodged the stone sword that came slashing at him. Then, he put away the 2 stone swords, the sky drum, and the 9 devils picture. Then, he quickly chased after the great emperor of the Silver Goblin clan. Originally, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor was already on the verge of death. After the great battle, the Silver Goblin race great emperor's body was in an even worse state. He couldn't hold on any longer. This was the best time to kill the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. How could Lin Feng let him escape? Who are you? Seeing Lin Feng chasing after him, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor asked with a gloomy expression. Lin Feng! What? You're that Lin Feng? The Silver Goblin race's great emperor couldn't help but exclaim. He had already heard Lin Feng's name so many times. He had also heard that many geniuses of the myriad races had died in Lin Feng's hands. However, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor didn't pay too much attention to Lin Feng. After all, no matter how strong Lin Feng was, he was still just a young disciple. A lofty great emperor like him naturally wouldn't pay too much attention to the matters of a young cultivator. Moreover, there were so many top-notch geniuses of the myriad races. There was bound to be someone who could kill Lin Feng. Who would have thought? The person he met today was actually Lin Feng. It's the real deal, Lin Feng said indifferently as he continued to increase his speed. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor also increased his speed. He knew that there was no hope for him to take over Lin Feng's body. After all, Lin Feng was simply too strong. Right now, his priority was no longer to take over Lin Feng's body. Instead, he had to quickly avoid Lin Feng's pursuit. However, Lin Feng didn't give the Silver Goblin race's great emperor the chance to escape. In the end, he caught up to the Silver Goblin race's great emperor and sent a palm strike at him. Facing Lin Feng's terrifying palm strike, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor turned around and sent a palm strike at Lin Feng. However, at that moment, Lin Feng actually split into three and used the 1 Qi into 3 Pure Ones technique. The 3 Lin Fengs surrounded the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. Then, the 3 Lin Fengs unleashed their domineering auras and unleashed their 9-layered magnetic field. When the 9-layered magnetic field descended, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's battle prowess was greatly reduced. If the Silver Goblin race's great emperor was at his peak, the 9-layered magnetic field might only be able to reduce his battle prowess by 10 to 20%. However, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor was already at the end of his rope. Therefore, he was greatly suppressed by Lin Feng's 9-layered magnetic field. Lin Feng's 9-layered magnetic field had reduced the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's battle prowess by 60 to 70%. Furthermore, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's speed had also greatly decreased. Mount Tai Crush! Lin Feng's original body used the 72 transformations to simulate the divine ability that the Silver Goblin race's great emperor had used. An immortal mountain descended from the sky and suppressed the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. As for the other 2 Lin Fengs, one of them used the peerless divine ability, One Thought Flower Blooms, Sovereign's Descent. The other used the Mystic Turtle's Hunchback Tablet divine ability. As the immortal mountain pressed down, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor roared in disbelief. How is this possible? Is this my divine ability? You've actually grasped my divine ability? How did you do it? Go to hell and ask the King of Hell. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as the immortal mountain pressed down on the Silver Goblin race's great emperor. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor wanted to destroy the immortal mountain, but he failed in the end. At this moment, Lin Feng's 2 clones attacked. Bang! Bang! 2 terrifying divine abilities bombarded the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's body. Shortly after, the Silver Goblin race's great emperor's body exploded. The Silver Goblin race's great emperor died on the spot. In the end, only the origin energy and a storage ring were left floating in the air. Ha ha! This is great! I wonder how high my cultivation level will rise after refining the Silver Goblin race's origin energy? Lin Feng could not help but exclaim excitedly. After collecting the Silver Goblin race's origin energy and storage ring, then, he quickly left the place. Lin Feng found a secluded place and set up a concealment restriction before entering seclusion. The first thing Lin Feng did was to refine the soul origin energy contained within the origin energy. After refining the soul origin energy of the Silver Goblin race's Great Emperor, Lin Feng's soul power broke through 5 levels consecutively. It rose from the 40th level to the 45th level. Chapter 30:28. Lin Feng was currently stuck at the level of a quasi-emperor who had reached the 15th step of the stone steps. Every time he made a breakthrough, it would be extremely difficult. Therefore, it would not be easy for Lin Feng to continue raising his cultivation level. However, now that he had obtained the great Tao source of the Silver Goblin race's Great Emperor, Lin Feng felt that his cultivation level would increase significantly. He was looking forward to it. As the Great Emperor of the Silver Goblin race's source of power was gradually refined, Lin Feng's cultivation level also began to rise. It did not take long for his cultivation level to rise to the next level. However, this kind of improvement was clearly far from over. When all the source of power was refined by Lin Feng's cultivation level finally stopped at the level of a quasi-emperor who had reached the 18th step of the stone steps. This time, Lin Feng had raised his cultivation level by 3 levels consecutively. This made Lin Feng extremely happy. If he cultivated step by step, he did not know how long it would take to raise his cultivation level by 3 levels. This great emperor of the Silver Goblin race's injuries are too severe. Only half of his body is left, and his blood is about to run dry. He does not have much source of power left, probably not even 1/10 of his peak. However, this guy's source of power is really powerful. With such a small amount of source of power, I can raise my cultivation level by 3 levels. If I were to refine all of his source of power, how many levels would I raise? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that it was impossible to completely refine the great emperor of the Silver Goblin race's source of power. Right now, he was just feeling a little emotional and a little regretful. After his cultivation level had broken through consecutively, Lin Feng felt that the magic power in his dantian had undergone an earth-shattering change. For a cultivator like Lin Feng who had accumulated a lot of power, even if it was just a small breakthrough, the increase in his combat power was also quite shocking. After Lin Feng came out of his seclusion, he continued to head deeper into the forest. The map in his mind was a little blurry. Lin Feng needed to find the correct route in the forest. Fortunately, Lin Feng had a lot of experience living in the wilderness. So, it was not difficult for him to find the correct route. "Brother Fan, are you here? Brother Fan, are you coming over?" Those voices resounded in Lin Feng's mind. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. That girl knew that he was coming? The fluctuations emitted by the ancient devil ring were getting stronger and stronger, and Lin Feng was gradually approaching that place. However, Lin Feng had no idea what would happen next. However, he was extremely curious about the Brother Fan that the girl had called out to him. What was going on with this Brother Fan? At some point, Lin Feng even had doubts. This Brother Fan must have been a terrifying existence in the past, right? Could it be that he was the reincarnation of Brother Fan? However, this possibility was quickly rejected by Lin Feng. If he was really a reincarnated body, he should have recovered the memories of his previous life when he entered the divine realm. It was impossible for him to not have any memories of his past life. Of course, some people might not be able to recover the memories of their past life for their entire life. However, even if they could not recover the memories of their past life, they would still have some differences compared to ordinary people. For example, some intermittent images would occasionally appear in their minds. Or when they woke up one day, they would suddenly have some powerful divine abilities appear in their minds. However, these things had never happened to Lin Feng. Now, Lin Feng had already broken through to the Di-Chi layer. Reincarnated bodies would start to show differences from ordinary people when they entered the divine realm. However, such a situation had never happened to Lin Feng. That was why Lin Feng denied the possibility of him being a reincarnated body. Lin Feng did not know if this Brother Fan was really related to him. Perhaps he would be able to find out everything after meeting that young girl? Not long after, Lin Feng saw a lake. Brother Fan, have you arrived? Yusin is in the depths. Yusin is waiting for you here. That voice rang in Lin Feng's mind once again. I'm not some Brother Fan. I'm your Brother Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter in his heart. However, he then remembered that the girl was in existence from who knows how many tens of thousands of years ago. His words didn't seem to be appropriate. Just as Lin Feng was about to enter the lake, a group of cultivators suddenly flew over from afar. It was actually the group of people from the hidden clan. There were only 4 people left from the hidden sect. He wondered if the rest of them had died in the dark world. Seeing that these people had arrived, Lin Feng hurriedly hid. If he was discovered by these people, his life would be in danger. The crying sounds should be coming from here, a great emperor said. Then, he flew into the lake impatiently. However, just as he entered the lake, his body fell into the lake uncontrollably. With a splash, his body fell into the lake. There must be a sky restriction law above the lake, Tian Fa Overlord said. The great emperor who had fallen into the lake wanted to swim back up. However, his body suddenly started to tremble violently. Brother Lu, what's wrong? Tian Fa Overlord and the others looked at the great emperor in confusion. Suddenly, the great emperor cried out in pain. Then, his body fell into the lake. In the next moment, suddenly, a large amount of blood gushed out from the lake. That great emperor was clearly in trouble. What happened? Tian Fa Overlord and the other 2 looked extremely gloomy. They were so close to the lake. They didn't even know what was going on. This made their hearts sink. Holy sh*t! This lake is so scary. If I had flown in just now, wouldn't I have died in the lake like that unlucky guy? Lin Feng felt a lingering fear in his heart. Brother Fan my A**s. He's just trying to scam people to death without paying for it. How dare he call me Brother Fan? Then, Lin Feng could not help but curse in his heart. What do we do now? One of the great emperors asked with a gloomy expression. Let's wait and see, Tian Fa Overlord said. The other 2 great emperors nodded. Right now, they had no other way to deal with it. They could only wait here. At this moment, something suddenly floated out from the depths. Not long after, a bamboo raft slowly sailed out. This bamboo raft was extremely strange. There were many ferocious beasts' heads tied to the bottom. The ferocious beasts' heads seemed to have been hollowed out. Only their fur was left. They were blown into a round shape, and the place where they breathed out was tied up with ropes. Then, they were tied to the bottom of the raft to increase the raft's buoyancy. Chapter 30-29. Let's go up and take a look, said the demon sovereign. The other 2 nodded. Then, the 3 of them boarded the raft. Roar! After they boarded the raft, something shocking happened. The heads of the ferocious beasts that were tied to the raft seemed to have come to life. The heads of the ferocious beasts let out a series of low growls. The ferocious eyes of the ferocious beasts shone with an eerie light. Tian Fa's group of 3 couldn't help but jump in fright. They almost jumped to the shore. However, after seeing that nothing strange was happening, the 3 of them relaxed. Then, the raft floated toward the lake. Soon, they disappeared. Clearly, they had entered the depths of the lake. What's that raft? It's so strange. Lin Feng frowned. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. At that moment, more cultivators flew over. There were 15 of them. It was Su Tianqing and the others. Half of the great emperors from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external factions have died? Lin Feng looked at Su Tianqing and the others and pondered. Then, he sneered. The great emperors of the 3 factions had lost so many experts. It was definitely a huge blow to them. Although there were many great emperors from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external factions, they could not withstand such losses. The great emperors did not look too good. They had experienced too many dangers in the world of darkness. It was not easy to reach this place. It's in the depths of the lake. We're close to the source of the secret. Then what are we waiting for? Let's go in now, said one of the great emperors. He was about to fly into the lake. Wait, Su Tianqing suddenly said. Why are you stopping me, Taoist Su? Asked the great emperor. Wait, said Su Tianqing. He waved his sleeve and a blood-red bat flew out. Su Tianqing looked like a sage, but he was actually rearing a terrifying and evil creature like a blood-red bat. At first glance, one could tell that he was a sanctimonious person. Evil water flowed in his bones. It was just that he was very good at hiding it. The blood-red bat flew to the top of the lake, but then it fell down. Then, the blood-red bat was submerged by the lake water. Then, blood spurted out. The blood-red bat died. This Su Tianqing was extremely cautious and had countless tricks up his sleeve. Thus, he discovered the strangeness of this place. Seeing this, everyone was extremely shocked, especially the myriad race great emperor who was about to fly into the lake. He felt a lingering fear. He quickly thanked Su Tianqing. You don't have to be so polite, fellow Taoist, Su Tianqing said with a smile. What should we do next? A cultivator asked. Su Tianqing said, This is a world where flying is forbidden. However, since such a lake has appeared, I guess that there might be a way to cross the lake soon. Hearing Su Tianqing's words, everyone nodded and stood by the lake to wait. These great emperors from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other external forces trusted Su Tianqing greatly. Not long after, 3 bamboo bowls floated out. These 3 bamboo rafts were the same as the bamboo raft from before. The only difference was that the ferocious beast heads tied to the bottom of the bamboo raft were different. 3 bamboo rafts are coming out, a great emperor said. Get on the bamboo raft, Su Tianqing said. Then, these people divided into 3 groups and boarded the bamboo rafts. Each bamboo raft seemed to be able to carry a maximum of 5 people. This was because after the 5 people boarded the bamboo raft, the raft began to leak water. If too many people boarded the raft might sink because of this. Roar! 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 Earth-shattering roars rang out. The ferocious beast heads under the bamboo raft came to life again. Each ferocious beast head let out an earth-shattering roar. Then, the 3 bamboo rafts moved toward the depths of the lake. After seeing Su Tianqing and the others leave, Lin Feng was about to make a move when he suddenly saw 5 people appear. He did not know who these 5 people were. There were men and women, and they were all very powerful. They waited for a while. Then, a bamboo raft floated out, and the 5 people boarded it. The bamboo raft then floated toward the depths of the lake. After the 5 people left, Lin Feng walked out of his hiding place. Looks like there's more than one group of cultivators who entered the world of darkness. These people are all very powerful. They actually all found this lake. Is there really a shocking opportunity hidden in the depths of the lake? Lin Feng could not help but think. He came to the side of the lake. Not long after, a bamboo raft floated out. Lin Feng also boarded the raft. Roar! 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 The bamboo raft floated toward the depths of the lake. Lin Feng carefully observed the ferocious beast heads. There were a total of 4 ferocious beast heads tied to the 4 corners of the raft. Each ferocious beast head was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. Lin Feng did not know what species these ferocious beasts were. After all, there were too many species in this world. He was familiar with the classic of mountains and seas. However, there were many ferocious beasts that were not recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. The bamboo raft floated toward the depths of the lake. Suddenly, Lin Feng noticed that the lake behind them had turned blood-red. Gurgle! Gurgle! Blood-red bubbles kept rising from the lake. When Lin Feng saw the blood-red bubbles, he was shocked. Something terrifying was probably emerging from the blood-red lake. Whoosh! Suddenly, Lin Feng saw a huge wave in the distance. It was a blood-red wave that was at least 10,000 meters tall. It looked like a ferocious beast's tail had whipped up a huge wave. Danger! Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. He felt a dangerous aura. Roar! 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 At this moment, the four heads of the ferocious beasts let out a series of roars. Then, the four ferocious beast heads turned into four ferocious beasts. The four ferocious beasts bared their fangs and brandished their claws. The four ferocious beasts charged forward. Each of the ferocious beasts had a rope around its neck. The other end of the rope was tied to the bamboo raft. The four ferocious beasts pulled the bamboo raft and ran above the lake. In the lake behind them, there seemed to be something chasing after them at high speed. Lin Feng even saw a blurry figure appear in the blood-red lake. It was definitely a huge monster. However, he did not know what it was. It was hiding in the lake and had locked onto him, chasing after him. Chapter 30. The four ferocious beasts were extremely fast, but the unknown creature hidden under the lake was not slow either. Lin Feng took out the black flame bow. He drew the bow and shot arrows. Swoosh, 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 a series of energy arrows condensed and shot towards the unknown creature hiding under the blood-colored lake. But at that moment, an astonishing thing happened. When Lin Feng's arrow was about to hit the enemy's face turned pale. The arrows shattered the moment they came into contact with the surface of the lake. This was an arrow shot from the black flame bow. It could easily kill a quasi-emperor expert. But now, all those arrows had been destroyed in such a bizarre manner. It was truly inconceivable. Lin Feng's face turned pale with fright. It was not that these arrows were not powerful enough. It was because the unknown creature under the blood-colored lake was too terrifying. It directly controlled the void above the lake. Lin Feng felt that a terrifying magnetic field had formed in that area. It was that terrifying magnetic field. It destroyed those arrows. This magnetic field was very special. It was very similar to the magnetic field formed by Lin Feng's domineering aura. Could it be that the terrifying creature below also had domineering aura? Could it be a living tyrant beast? If that was the case, then it was too terrifying. Tyrants were definitely one of the most terrifying creatures in the world. Some time ago, when he was training with Taoist Wu Liang in the ancient chaotic nation, Lin Feng obtained a tyrant bone. That tyrant bone allowed his epic Haki to evolve from the second stage of white Haki to the third stage of red Haki. Lin Feng had already refined 2 tyrant bones, but he had never seen a tyrant beast. If there really was a tyrant beast in front of him, who could defeat such a terrifying creature? It was rumored that tyrants had disappeared in the long river of time. Now, it seemed that this rumor was not reliable. Roar, 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 roar! The 4 ferocious beasts roared. As if there was wind under their feet, they became faster and faster. Lin Feng was already extremely fast, but now he could not help but be shocked when he saw the speed of the 4 ferocious beasts. Even if he unleashed his full speed, he would not be able to compare with the 4 ferocious beasts. There were too many rare beasts in this world, and many of them possessed abilities that would shock anyone. The 4 ferocious beasts finally helped Lin Feng get rid of the terrifying and unknown creature that was chasing after them. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a destroyed bamboo raft. The heads of the 4 ferocious beasts were also torn apart. He did not know which group of people had been killed. It seemed that they had died at the hands of the terrifying creature in the lake. The 4 ferocious beasts did not slow down. One day later, a huge canyon appeared in the middle of the lake. 4 ferocious beasts pulled the bamboo raft into the canyon. When they arrived in the valley, Lin Feng was surprised to see many murals on both sides of the valley. "Stop!" said Lin Feng hastily. When the 4 ferocious beasts heard Lin Feng's command, they all stopped. Lin Feng looked at the murals on the walls. Soon, a shocked expression appeared on his face. The murals seemed to be about the demonic beasts. The first mural depicted the demonic beasts created by Nuwa. After countless years, the demonic beasts began to multiply. The second mural depicted the rise of some powerful demonic beasts. The third mural depicted the appearance of 2 supreme demonic beasts. The first supreme demonic beast was called the demonic Emperor Dijun. The second supreme demonic beast was called the demonic Emperor Tai. These two supreme demonic beasts were born in the vast pure land of the heavenly realm. The demonic Emperor Dijun and the demonic Emperor Tai joined forces to form a faction called the Heavenly Court. This is a story from the legends. Lin Fengyu was shocked. These murals depicted the legends of the legends. According to the legends, the demonic Emperor Dijun and the demonic Emperor Tai joined forces to form the Heavenly Court. The two of them joined forces to rule the Heavenly Court. Lin Feng continued reading. The more he read, the more shocked he became. After the establishment of the Heavenly Court, some Khanate lifeforms felt that their authority over the myriad worlds was being challenged. Thus, they wanted to destroy the Heavenly Court. Thus, a few powerful Khanate lifeforms joined forces to attack the Heavenly Court. However, the demonic Emperor Dijun and the demonic Emperor Tai were too powerful. They joined forces with many cultivators who were already dissatisfied with the Khanate lifeforms and waged a great war against them. This war was known as the War of the Heavenly Demons. In the end, the War of the Heavenly Demons ended with the demonic beast's victory. This was the first time the Khanate lifeforms had suffered such a heavy blow. In truth, the Khanate lifeforms of this era were already showing signs of decline. Nuwa, Pangu, Fire God Jerome, the Empyrean Maiden, Exalted One, and other existences had all disappeared for countless years. Most of the Khanate lifeforms of today were born later. Their desire for power was extremely strong. Unlike the Khanate lifeforms of Nuwa's era, everyone lived in peace and there were no disputes over power. After the fall of the Khanate lifeforms, the Heavenly Court ruled by the demonic beasts became even more powerful. Many great worlds and vital planets declared their allegiance to the Heavenly Court. They chose to be protected by the Heavenly Court, rather than continue to live under the rule and exploitation of the Khanate lifeforms. In the beginning, the Heavenly Court was indeed a place where everyone submitted. However, the demonic Emperor Tai had died in an accident. His death had been extremely sudden. The classic of Mountains and Seas wrote, "The demonic Emperor Tai went out and died in an accident." Here, pawn. It meant death. The demonic Emperor Tai had died in an accident. Apart from that, there was no other news. How could someone as powerful as the demonic Emperor Tai have died in an accident? This was one of the greatest secrets of the universe for countless eons. But now, Lin Feng saw some shocking content on the murals. A 7-colored auspicious cloud flew over, and a graceful fairy stood on top of it. She seemed to be saying something to the demonic Emperor Tai. The demonic Emperor Tai's expression grew anxious. After giving some instructions, the demonic Emperor Tai left with the woman. Not long after, news of the demonic Emperor Tai's death spread. Does the demonic Emperor Tai's death have anything to do with that mysterious woman? Lin Feng couldn't help but ponder. This was definitely a shocking secret, but he couldn't find out the woman's identity. This was a great pity. Lin Feng continued to look at the murals. After the demonic Emperor Tai's death, the demonic Emperor Dijun took control of the Heavenly Court alone. When the demonic Emperor Tai was still around, no matter what happened, the two of them would discuss and decide. However, after the demonic Emperor Dijun took control of the Heavenly Court alone, he started to become obstinate and self-opinionated. This caused some factions to be dissatisfied. One of them was an extremely powerful race called the Shaman race. This race was dissatisfied with the demonic Emperor Dijun's arbitrary rule, so they left the Heavenly Court. After that, many factions left the Heavenly Court one after another. Even within the demonic beasts, there were many tribes that were dissatisfied with the demonic Emperor Dijun's rule and announced their departure. The demonic Emperor Dijun didn't care about the attitudes of others. He became more and more dictatorial, especially in his later years. Life and death were decided with a single thought. Chapter 30-31. In Dijun's later years, the Heavenly Court's power had greatly declined. It was no longer as glorious and cohesive as before. When the shifter Emperor Dijun was in his later years, something happened that completely changed the structure of the world. It turned out that Dijun had 10 sons. These 10 sons were the famous golden crows. The golden crows lived in the Fusun tree. These golden crows felt bored and turned into suns. They roasted the land day and night, causing countless living beings to die tragically. The grand shaman of the shaman race, Hoi, sympathized with the world and found immortal materials. He created the sun-slaying divine bow and sun-slaying divine arrow. Hoi drew the bow and shot the arrows, killing Dijun's sons. Beast sovereign Dijun was enraged and killed Hoi personally. The shaman race was naturally unwilling. Thus, a war broke out. This war was the famous War of Shamans and Demons in history. These scenes seem to be telling the future generations about the tragic situation of the War of Shamans and Demons. The War of Shamans and Demons swept through thousands of worlds. In the beginning, it was only a war between the shaman race and the heavenly court. However, with the help of the Khanate lifeforms, the war's range became wider and wider. The outcome of this war was extremely tragic. The shaman race withdrew from the stage of history. In the long years that followed, the once powerful shaman race never appeared again. There were rumors that the shaman race was exterminated in the War of Shamans and Demons. The demon race was also on the decline. This was especially true for Dijun, who had perished not long after the battle had ended. In the past, Dijun and Demon Emperor Tai created the glory of the demon race. The War of Heavenly Demons established the demon race's supreme prestige and orthodox status. The War of Shamans and Demons pushed the demon race into the abyss. The demon race was unable to recover for many years. Thus, even now, many demon race hated Dijun more than they were grateful to him. Among the gods worshipped by the demon race, Dijun's status was far from being comparable to Demon Emperor Taiyi's in the same era. The era of the demon race ruling the heavenly court came to an end. The Khanate lifeforms that added fuel to the fire in the war were unable to control the heavenly court. At this time, a new race rose. This race was the human race. To be precise, this race was the innate human race. They were the earliest humans, for example, the Celestial Clan, Immortal Clan, and others. They all possessed special and powerful bloodlines. The innate human race took over the Heaven Court, and from then on, the Heaven Court was under the control of the human race. Until now, nothing had changed. However, as time passed, the human race began to split apart. A portion of the human race, such as the immortal race, and the celestial race were still powerful. The other part of the human race became more and more mediocre as their bloodline was diluted. As for the immortal race who ruled the heaven realm, the celestial race no longer acknowledged that they had any connection with the human race. They were a brand new race, a noble race that was high and mighty. Lin Feng finished looking at all the murals. The final mural depicted the celestial race, immortal race, and other races ruling the heavenly court. The rest of the story was lost. When was this mural painted? Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. The murals were too extraordinary. They had not been destroyed even after such a long time. Furthermore, the murals also revealed some secrets that had long been lost in the long river of history. The content of the murals has always been related to the demon race? Is there a deeper meaning behind it? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. He felt that there was a deeper meaning behind it. Suddenly, a thought appeared in his mind. Could this world of darkness be related to the demon race? Lin Feng could not help but be shocked when he thought of this. Perhaps this was really a possibility. Lin Feng allowed the beasts to continue pulling him deeper into the lake. Not long after, Lin Feng saw an island. It was an island that had appeared in the middle of a lake. The bamboo raft stopped beside the island, and Lin Feng boarded the island. On the island, the ancient forest was extremely dense. Occasionally, the roars of beasts could be heard. "You're here! Big Brother Fan, you're here!" An excited voice rang out in his mind. It was the mysterious girl called Yu Xian. Lin Feng did not know who she was. He only knew that she was waiting for her. Big Brother Fan. And he was not her Big Brother Fan. Lin Feng looked at the ancient devil ring in his hand. Recently, Lin Feng had been thinking about something. The reason why Yu Xian thought of him as her big brother Fan. Could it be related to the ancient devil ring? Lin Feng guessed a certain possibility. The ancient devil ring was actually created by this big brother Fan that Yu Xian mentioned. Or perhaps this big brother Fan was one of the owners of the ancient devil ring? Of course, these were all just Lin Feng's guesses. As for the specific situation, he would have to wait until the future to verify it. Lin Feng carefully walked deeper into the island. Within the island, danger lurked everywhere. Moreover, there might be other great emperors hiding somewhere, spying on the cultivators who entered the island. He had to be careful. Otherwise, he might die on the island. As Lin Feng walked deeper into the island, he saw some powerful beasts. These beasts were very terrifying, and their auras were monstrous. He would immediately leave the area where the beasts were. Finally, Lin Feng arrived at the center of the island. He saw a huge tree. When he saw the huge tree, Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. On the huge tree, there were many Dharma treasures. Many of the Dharma treasures emitted extremely terrifying energy waves. Some of the Dharma treasures emitted auras that were not any weaker than immortal weapons. Oh my God, what kind of tree is that? It actually formed Dharma treasures. Lin Feng's face was filled with disbelief. What was happening before their eyes was indeed too unimaginable. No matter who saw it, they wouldn't dare to believe that it was actually real. Lin Feng saw Su Tianqing and other great emperors wandering around, looking at the huge tree in shock. Demon Lord, what's with that tree? Lin Feng could not help but ask. There were about 100 weapons on the ancient tree. Lin Feng felt that even the weakest weapon was comparable to an emperor weapon. The powerful weapons were comparable to immortal weapons. There were also a few supreme weapons. Those weapons were even more terrifying. Their auras were even stronger than immortal weapons. Everything before his eyes was like a dream. Even in a dream, it might be difficult to see such a shocking scene. But everything that happened in front of him was the truth. This was not a dream. There was actually an ancient tree that could form Dharma treasures between heaven and earth. It was like a fairy tale. The Demon Lord was also dumbfounded. He was also shocked by the scene before him. Chapter 30-32. The Demon Lord asked, "Are we dreaming? Or have we fallen into an illusion?" Even the Demon Lord could not be sure if what was happening was real. It was no wonder that the Demon Lord was so confused. No one would dare to believe what they were seeing. The Demon Lord was not the only one who could not believe what he was seeing. The great emperors in the distance could not believe what they were seeing. Is this a dream? This should be an illusion, right? Many great emperors muttered. No, this is real, Su Tianqing said. His expression was extremely excited. He said, I know what kind of tree this is. I thought it was just a myth. I didn't expect it to be real. Taoist Su, what kind of tree is this? Many people asked one after another. They all wanted to know the origin of this ancient tree. This ancient tree was simply too extraordinary. It piqued everyone's interest. This was especially true for the countless weapons on the ancient tree. Those weapons were too attractive. Even the weakest weapon was comparable to an emperor weapon. Some of the stronger weapons were comparable to immortal weapons. There were even weapons with auras stronger than immortal weapons. If they could obtain those weapons, how much would their combat power increase? Just thinking about it made many people extremely excited. Myriad weapon tree, Su Tianqing said. Myriad weapon tree? What kind of tree is that? Some great emperors asked curiously. They had never heard of such a tree. The great emperors of the other factions, such as the Demon Lord Tian Fa, and another group of 5 great emperors were listening quietly. It was also their first time hearing about such a mysterious ancient tree. Su Tianqing continued. Rumor has it that the myriad weapon tree only appears at the beginning and end of an epoch. If you can see it, you might be able to obtain the weapons on it. It's said that the myriad weapon tree is an immortal tree born from the providence of the world. Any cultivator who can obtain the weapons on the tree will be blessed by the providence of the world. Their future achievements will be limitless with the help of the providence of the world. 3,000 eras have already passed. This is the end of the epic. Earlier, the 5 decays of the heavenly man appeared. Next, the world underwent a great change. Now, the myriad weapon tree has appeared. It seems this epic is truly going to be destroyed. A grand emperor couldn't help but sigh. Su Tianqing said, "Fellow Daoist son, there's no need to be so emotional. Although this era isn't the best era, it's definitely the most exciting one. If it was another era, would we be able to become immortals? If we succeed in breaking through to the immortal realm, we might be able to live to the next epoch when the epoch collapses. As long as we live long enough, we might be able to search for the secret of eternal life in the future." That's right. That's right. Eternal life. Many great emperors couldn't help but tremble slightly when they mentioned these 2 words. Who didn't want eternal life? Perhaps there really were experts in this world who could achieve eternal life. However, they had yet to come into contact with experts of that level. "I'll try and see if I can take these divine weapons," a myriad tribe Grand Emperor said. This myriad tribe Grand Emperor had a pair of huge wings. His head was like an eagle's, but his body was that of a human. This was the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe. Swoosh! Swoosh! The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe flapped his wings and flew towards the ancient tree. This ancient tree was very special. Even the void around the ancient tree was distorted. It was preventing all living beings from getting close to it. When the Divine Eagle tribe cultivator got close to the ancient tree, he was stopped by the distorted space. "Are you trying to stump me with your petty tricks?" The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe sneered. Today, he was determined to obtain these treasures. There were so many treasures, so he had to obtain at least 1 or 2 of them. If he were to obtain such a formidable magic treasure, to what terrifying level would his combat prowess rise to? Thinking of this, the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe felt as if his blood was about to boil. He was extremely excited. Swoosh! Swoosh! At this moment, the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe displayed an extremely extraordinary ability. His wings flapped rapidly. It was a pair of wings that could penetrate the void world. It flapped gently. The void world seemed to be about to split open. It was too extraordinary. Although the space around the ancient tree was distorted, the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe still had the extraordinary ability to travel through the void world with his wings. The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe continued to approach the ancient tree. Is he really going to succeed? Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. If the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe could succeed, he wanted to give it a try. Lin Feng had his eyes on the 3 treasures at the top of the ancient tree. The first treasure was a cloak. This should be a defensive-type magic treasure. Of course, such high-level treasures usually had extremely terrifying weapon spirits. Therefore, it couldn't be regarded as a defensive treasure. It was just like Lin Feng's Heavenly Mystery Pagoda. Although Lin Feng used it as a defensive treasure, it was still very powerful. In fact, the Heavenly Mystery Pagoda also had extremely powerful offensive capabilities. Obviously, the cloak was the same. The cloak was one of the 3 treasures with auras that surpassed immortal artifacts. The other 3 treasures with auras that surpassed immortal artifacts were an ancient map and an ancient book. The ancient map was extraordinary. It was surrounded by dragon chi. The ancient book was also extraordinary. The ancient book was surrounded by a ball of sacred light. Lin Feng didn't know what the 2 treasures were for now. However, since their auras surpassed immortal artifacts, they were definitely unimaginable treasures. If he could obtain them, he would definitely be extremely powerful. At this moment, the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe had already approached the ancient tree. The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe had the same idea as Lin Feng. When he got close to the ancient tree, he flew towards the 3 treasures at the top. Obviously, he wanted to obtain the 3 treasures at the top. However, at this moment, the treasures growing on the ancient tree started to move. Swish! Swish. Those swish. 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 Those swish. 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 Every single swish of swish. 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 It was extremely terrifying. The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe's expression changed. He didn't dare to stay any longer. He turned around and fled. However, it was already too late. The attacks from the terrifying treasures enveloped the Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe. No! The Grand Emperor of the Divine Eagle tribe let out a terrified roar. He took out a few treasures to block those terrifying attacks. However, it was useless. His body exploded. He died on the spot. Chapter 30-33. The 10,000 weapon tree was truly terrifying. An Emperor Realm expert had fallen just like that. It was truly shocking. The fall of the Divine Eagle clan's great Emperor made everyone's expression turn solemn. Such a powerful existence had died too easily. Who could obtain the divine weapons on the 10,000 weapon tree? If they were to leave like this, it was obvious that no one would be willing to do so. We can't get close to the 10,000 weapon tree, a cultivator said. An extremely solemn expression appeared between his brows. How could they get close to the 10,000 weapon tree? Wanting to obtain those powerful treasures from the 10,000 weapon tree was simply an impossible task. Brother Su, what do you think? Then, someone looked at Su Tianqing. Su Tianqing had many tricks up his sleeves. If he could obtain the treasures on the 10,000 weapon tree, Su Tianqing might have the greatest chance. It's indeed very troublesome. I can't think of a solution for now, Su Tianqing said. Everyone immediately felt regretful. If they couldn't obtain such an amazing opportunity, they would regret it for the rest of their lives. They didn't just want to obtain the powerful treasures. Most importantly, they also wanted to obtain the blessing of the world's providence. The more powerful the magic treasure one obtained, the more powerful the heaven and earth fate would be. Everyone was very clear about this. Originally, cultivators who wanted to go against the heavens and seas fate needed a strong amount of providence as support. However, the method of absorbing providence was simply too difficult. Now that it was a good opportunity to devour the providence, everyone naturally wanted to make good use of this opportunity. As for whether they could make good use of it, that would depend on their luck and destiny. Boom! At this moment, something shocking happened. A hazy and blurry world appeared behind the 10,000 weapon tree. Woo woo woo! Then, a sobbing sound could be heard from the hazy and blurry world. When everyone heard the sobbing sound, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. The mysterious sobbing sound that had disappeared for a while was heard again. Moreover, it came from the world behind the 10,000 weapon tree. Who is crying? The great emperors all frowned and looked at the hazy and blurry world with gloomy expressions. Gradually, the world became real. Everyone saw a woman. She was alone, kneeling in front of a lone grave, crying. She was crying so sadly that it made people feel sad. Is it her? Lin Feng stared at the woman's back. Stop pretending! Some great Emperor Realm experts had cold expressions. I'll shoot her with an arrow, one of the emperors of the myriad races said coldly. He took out a huge bow and pulled it back to shoot an arrow. Whoosh! The arrow pierced through the void, entered the slightly illusory world, and then shot toward the woman. The weeping woman had her back to everyone. No one could see her face clearly. When the arrow flew over, the woman didn't dodge it. She allowed the arrow to pierce through her body. After the arrow pierced through her body, the woman disappeared without a trace. It really is an illusion. Just as I guessed, the great emperor who shot the arrow said with a cold smile. But at this time, the others all retreated and looked at the great emperor who shot the arrow in fear. The great emperor who shot the arrow had a puzzled expression, as if he had sensed something. The great emperor who shot the arrow turned around and looked behind him. Suddenly, he saw the woman appear behind him. You! The great Emperor Realm Expert's expression changed drastically. He wanted to retreat quickly, but at this time, the woman reached out and gently tapped him. Immediately, the great Emperor found that his body couldn't move. She was a woman who was as beautiful as heaven and earth. She was like a fairy who had fallen to the mortal world. When Lin Feng saw her, he was stunned. Lin Feng could finally confirm something. This woman was exactly the same as the woman who appeared in his dream. She was so beautiful, so otherworldly, like a fairy from the 9 heavens that made people's hearts pound. But at the same time, people couldn't help but feel that they couldn't bear to blaspheme her. This woman's beauty was a kind of beauty that couldn't be described with words. "I didn't mean to do that. Spare me! Spare me!" The great Emperor from the myriad races looked at the woman with pleading eyes. The domineering aura from before had long disappeared. Now, there was only deep fear in his heart. He had never seen such a terrifying existence. With just a tap, his body was imprisoned. Just how terrifyingly powerful did one have to be in order to possess such an ability? "Turn into a rune," the woman said softly. Her voice was so beautiful and pleasant to the ears. But to the people around, it was even more terrifying than the voice of a demon. The woman tapped lightly. In an instant, the great Emperor turned into a rune. The rune flew towards the giant tree and fused with it. "What kind of technique is this?" Everyone was shocked. They didn't know what technique the woman had used to turn a powerful great Emperor into a rune. Wasn't this technique too terrifying? Let's go, Su Tianqing whispered. He was completely stunned. Even though the 10,000 weapon tree was filled with divine weapons, he still couldn't move. He didn't dare to have any thoughts about those treasures anymore. The rest of the great emperors had the same thought. The mysterious woman in front of them was too terrifying. As long as she was here, the great emperors wouldn't be able to survive. As long as she was here, no one would be able to obtain the fortuitous encounter here. The great emperors were depressed. Chapter 30-34. This woman called him Brother Fan in her dreams. She called him Brother Fan when she saw him in reality. In that case, he would pretend to be her Brother Fan for the time being. Lin Feng felt that he was too kind. He could not bear to see this beautiful woman sad. Hence, he decided to pretend to be her Brother Fan. The beautiful woman looked at Lin Feng. She did not walk towards Lin Feng. Instead, she stood there quietly and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng could not help but mutter in his heart. Could this woman know that he was an impostor? If that was the case, would she kill him with a slap? No matter how big Lin Feng's heart was, he could not help but feel a chill down his spine when he saw the woman's gaze. At that moment, the ancient devil ring vibrated violently. The woman's attention was attracted by the ancient devil ring. She looked at the ancient devil ring in Lin Feng's hand. She stretched out her hand and waved gently at the ancient devil ring. Instantly, the ancient devil ring struggled free from Lin Feng's hand and flew towards the woman. The woman held it in her hand. The woman stared at the ancient devil ring in a daze. She seemed to be in deep thought. Lin Feng did not know what the woman was thinking. He felt that since he had already pretended to be this so-called Brother Fan, he might as well pretend to be her all the way. There was no turning back. Lin Feng said, "Yusin, I did not expect to see you again after so many years. Brother Fan is really happy." Yusin was her name. It was a very beautiful name. Yusin looked at Lin Feng and said, "You are not my Brother Fan." After hearing Yusin's words, Lin Feng felt as if he was struck by lightning. This woman had already discovered that he was not her so-called Brother Fan. Next, what was she going to do to him? Would he be turned into a rune like the Emperor of 10,000 races and be devoured by the 10,000 weapon tree? Or would there be an even more tragic end? Lin Feng could only smile bitterly. He didn't think that things would come to this point. He really wanted to cry but had no tears. "You were the one who kept calling me Brother Fan, Brother Fan. How could you say that I'm not your Brother Fan in the blink of an eye? You can't play with me like this, right?" Lin Feng found that his lips were dry. He wanted to say something, but he didn't know what to say. You dare to impersonate my brother Fan? Have you thought of the consequences? Yu Xian looked at Lin Feng coldly and her voice turned cold. Lin Feng smiled bitterly and said, Fairy, this is all a misunderstanding. I saw that you kept calling me Big Brother Fan. In order to relieve Fairy's lovesickness, I did this. Yusin sneered. So, I should be the one thanking you? Lin Feng smiled and said, You don't have to thank me. It's getting late, so I won't disturb Fairy's rest any longer. I'll take my leave now. Yusin sneered. You've done so many wrong things. Don't you think you're dreaming if you think you can leave so easily? Lin Feng's heart sank to the bottom. He had really gone too far this time. And he had exposed himself. He really wanted to cry but had no tears. Lin Feng said, Fairy, please calm down. A beautiful fairy like you definitely isn't a murderous person. Can you give me a chance to explain? There's no point in saying such nice words. You've already crossed my bottom line. You won't be able to atone for your sins unless you die. Yusin said coldly. At this moment, she seemed to have transformed into a goddess of death from hell. She was so terrifying. She was so strong. Even a great emperor might not be able to withstand a single blow from her. Lin Feng didn't know where Yusin came from, but he knew. She must have been so terrifying in the past that he couldn't even imagine. Seeing that Yusin was about to attack, Lin Feng said anxiously, Fairy, is that thing in your hand the Big Brother Fan you mentioned? It has been with me for many years. This means that I'm fated with your Big Brother Fan. Do you really have the heart to kill someone who's fated with your Big Brother Fan? Fated with my Big Brother Fan. Yusin muttered to herself after hearing Lin Feng's words. She dispersed the magic power in her body and stared at the ancient devil ring in her hand in a daze. Lin Feng was overjoyed. He could sense that something was going on in the woman's body. It was a change in her mood. Moreover, the killing intent on her body was quickly dispersing. How did you get this ring? Yusin asked. Lin Feng said, I got it by chance when I was training in the past. The ring has been following me ever since. There were a few times when I was in danger, and the ring actually changed and saved me. Yusin nodded and returned the ring to Lin Feng. Then, she said, This ring belongs to you. Keep it well. I'll forgive you for offending my Big Brother Fan. Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief after hearing Yusin's words. Lin Feng couldn't help but ask, If I may ask, who is this Big Brother Fan you mentioned? Yusin looked at Lin Feng and said, He's a world-shaking figure. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. She might as well not have said anything. Clearly, she didn't want to tell him. That was why she answered in such a way. Lin Feng continued, I saw you crying in front of a lonely grave. May I know whose grave it is? Yusin actually shed tears when she heard Lin Feng's words. Yearning is like the endless mortal world. Seeing each other is like seeing a tear. When we part, the heart is filled with sorrow. When we meet again, it's already the vast ocean. I wish you could fly to the 9 heavens. But in the end, I fall to the mortal world. I'm used to seeing the seas dry up and the rocks crumble. My heart for you has never changed. Yusin muttered. She didn't answer Lin Feng's question, but Lin Feng could sense some special emotions from the sad poem. That lonely grave is Big Brother Fan's grave? Lin Feng could not help but guess. Lin Feng didn't know who Big Brother Fan was, but if he could make such a stunning woman unable to forget him, he must have an unimaginable background. Lin Feng felt that he wouldn't be able to get anything out of her even if he asked. Thus, he decided to change the topic. Lin Feng looked at the 10,000 weapons tree and asked, Celestial being, are those weapons really made by the 10,000 weapons tree? Chapter 30-35. Where did this rumor come from? After hearing Lin Feng's words, Yu Xian could not help but look at Lin Feng in surprise. Seeing her expression, Lin Feng knew that the rumor was not true. Perhaps Yu Xian also knew that Lin Feng could not answer her question. Therefore, he said, That rumor isn't reliable. The 10,000 weapon tree is very special. It will appear in every epoch, but it's not certain when it will appear. The treasures on the 10,000 weapon tree aren't formed by the 10,000 weapon tree. To be more precise, those treasures were devoured by the 10,000 weapon tree and then connected with the 10,000 weapon tree. From the outside, they look like treasures formed by the 10,000 weapon tree, Lin Feng said. I see. I wonder if it's possible for me to take a few of these treasures for self-defense? Yu Xian said calmly. If you have the ability, you can go ahead and take them. If not, there's nothing I can do. Then I'll give it a try, Lin Feng said as he flew towards the 10,000 weapon tree. He tried to get closer to the 10,000 weapon tree. With Lin Feng's various techniques, getting closer to the 10,000 weapon tree was not a difficult task. However, when Lin Feng reached the 10,000 weapon tree, he felt a terrifying aura emanating from it. That aura made his hair stand on end. At that moment, Lin Feng recalled the scene when the Divine Eagle Clan's emperor had fallen. The 10,000 weapon tree's various treasures had released powerful attacks and instantly killed the Divine Eagle Clan's emperor. What had happened then still lingered in Lin Feng's mind, and it was hard for him to forget. Therefore, when Lin Feng felt the terrifying aura from the 10,000 weapon tree, he immediately chose to retreat. Unless he had some heaven-defying technique, he would not be able to block the attacks of so many powerful treasures. Otherwise, death was the only way out. It seems like you know your limits, Yu Xian said. Lin Feng said. Actually, I don't lack ordinary magical treasures. I'm mainly interested in the 3 items on the list. You have a good eye. Those 3 treasures all have extremely heaven-defying origins. Any one of them is probably capable of causing a storm of blood. Yusin couldn't help but say. I wonder where these 3 treasures came from? Lin Feng asked curiously. Yu Xian said. Look at that cloak. It's called the Ancient Sage Cloak. It has a great history. It's said that it's a treasure refined by Pangu and Nuwa in their lifetime. As for who refined it, we don't know yet. The other 2 treasures are related to Fuxi. The ancient diagram shrouded in the dragon chi is called the Dragon River Diagram, also known as the Cross Diagram. It is the first diagram in the universe, containing the order of all things. Fuxi is the creator of the innate 8 trigrams, and it also contains Fuxi's marvelous application of the Tao of Heaven and Earth. The ancient tree is called the Book of Guiluo, also known as the Book of 9 Palaces. It is the first book in the universe, containing the position of all things. Fuxi is the creator of Feng Shui, and it contains many mysteries of Feng Shui. So, be it the Dragon River Diagram or the Book of Guiluo, they are not only powerful magical treasures, but they also contain Fuxi's Tao inheritance. After listening to Yu Xian's introduction, Lin Feng's eyes widened. These 3 items were just too extraordinary. The value of each of them was unimaginable. Especially the last 2 items, the Dragon River Diagram and the Book of Guiluo. If he could obtain them, it would be equivalent to obtaining part of Fuxi's Tao inheritance. Moreover, the Dragon River Diagram and the Book of Guiluo were powerful magical treasures. Once they were activated, they would definitely release an unimaginably terrifying power. The only pity was that Lin Feng couldn't obtain these treasures. If he could, it would be heaven-defying. Fairy, I have a very deep relationship with your brother Fan. I don't expect you to give me the immortal fate, but I hope you can give me some guidance, Lin Feng said. Yu Xian took out a small piece of wood and handed it to Lin Feng. After looking at the piece of wood, Lin Feng's eyes twitched violently. He could feel that the aura of the piece of wood was extremely similar to the aura of the 10,000 weapon tree. This is a piece of wood from the 10,000 weapon tree. You can take it. When your cultivation state increases in the future, you can use this piece of wood to sense the location of the 10,000 weapon tree. Yu Xian said. Lin Feng's face lit up with joy. Even though he couldn't obtain the treasures on the 10,000 weapon tree now, it didn't mean that he couldn't obtain them in the future. He kept the piece of divine wood and quickly thanked Yu Xian. Lin Feng said. Thank you, Fairy. The reason why I'm helping you is because of Brother Fan. You don't have to thank me, Yu Xian said. Then she entered the hazy world. She stood in front of the tomb with her back facing Lin Feng. She looked at the lonely grave and didn't say a word for a long time. Soon, the hazy world disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng didn't stay any longer and quickly left the place. 3 days later, Lin Feng walked out of the immortal gazing ridge. He returned to the ancestral land of the shifters. The strange phenomenon in the immortal gazing ridge disappeared. The world of darkness appeared suddenly and disappeared just as suddenly. Lin Feng guessed that the root of everything was Yu Xian. Perhaps she missed Brother Fan too much during this period of time. She cried every day. Hence, the strange phenomenon. Demon Lord, have you ever heard of a terrifying existence with the word Fan in his name? Have you ever heard of a peerless woman called Yu Xian? Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. After hearing Lin Feng's words, the Demon Lord said, I've never heard of her before. After all, the 3,000 eras of this era are too long. Many experts have long been drowned in the long river of history. The people of the future don't even know about them. Lin Feng deeply understood this point. He took out the divine tree and sacrificed it with his blood. Instantly, Lin Feng and the divine tree formed a special connection. That connection was faintly discernible. When he felt the special connection, he was shocked. Lin Feng tried to use the divine tree as a medium to communicate with the myriad weapon tree. He could vaguely sense the myriad weapon tree's aura. Lin Feng took a deep breath. Right now, the most important thing was to raise his cultivation. Only when his cultivation reached a sufficiently high level would he be able to target the myriad weapon tree. That night, Lin Feng once again entered the dreamland. The heavens and earth are long, the years are bright. Why do I miss you when I can't see you? Why do you worry? I stand in front of the bamboo forest and look into the distance, waiting for your return. A faint voice resounded in his mind. That voice pulled Lin Feng into an ancient world. He saw the beautiful face of a young girl. That young girl was none other than Yu Xian. She was the peerless fairy he had met before, Yu Xian. Chapter 30-36. It was a young man. He was very handsome and had a charming smile on his face. Yusin was running in front of him. She smiled and said, Brother Fan, come quickly. Come and chase after Yusin. They were still young. They were about 13 or 14 years old. They looked very young and childish. They grew up together. They were childhood sweethearts. It was not that they did not know anything at this age. They already knew a lot of things, such as the vision for the future. Perhaps in a few years, the two of them would be together. Then, they would live happily together. Xianer, I will be going to the Martial House to cultivate soon, Brother Fan said. Yusin was a little disappointed when she heard that. The Martial House only recruited men and not women. She was destined to not be able to follow Brother Fan to the Martial House to cultivate. Then I will wait for Brother Fan to come back. Yusin tried her best to smile. Brother Fan's talent did not seem to be very good. His cultivation in the Martial House was not very smooth. The disciples who went with him improved their cultivation very quickly. He was the only one who improved slowly. His relationship with Yusin had never changed. When Brother Fan realized that he was not talented enough in martial arts, he once thought of leaving the Martial House. Then, he proposed to Yusin. During this holiday, Brother Fan planned to tell Yusin about it when he came back. When he saw Yusin again, she was as beautiful as usual. She was like a fairy who had fallen into the mortal world. Her every move, every frown, and every smile were full of spirituality. She was so charming. It was different from when she saw Brother Fan in the past. After seeing Brother Fan this time, Yusin's expression became much colder. He was a meticulous person. Therefore, he quickly noticed the change in Yusin. He did not manage to say the words that he wanted to say to Yusin. Yusin left quickly. Brother Fan secretly followed behind Yusin. He wanted to see where she was going. Brother Fan saw Yusin and a tall and handsome man cuddling together by a small river. At this moment, Yusin seemed to have sensed something. She looked behind her. She saw Brother Fan, who was not far away. Brother Fan, Yusin was speechless. The tall and handsome man walked toward Brother Fan and extended his hand. He stretched out his hand and said with a smile, "Hello, my name is Zhou Ping. I've heard about you from Yusin. She said that you're a very good brother and you've taken good care of her all these years. I really want to thank you properly. However, from now on, you don't need to take care of Yusin anymore because I'll take good care of her and love her." After hearing the tall and handsome man, Brother Fan's face showed a bitter face. He really wanted to escape, but his confidence made him stay. He then exchanged a few words with the tall and handsome man before leaving. After Brother Fan's sisters Yusin's. What is it? Zhou Ping asked curiously. On that day, a holy light shone down from the sky. The book of heavenly Tao fell from the sky and fell between his eyebrows. My master said that he was destined to be extraordinary. He might be born with the luck of heaven and earth. He is very important to this era. He might be able to shoulder some extremely important tasks, Yusin said. She was not an ordinary person. A few years ago, she was taken in as a disciple by a terrifying person. She was very talented. She had learned many things over the years. Her master was even more extraordinary. He was one of the leaders of their era. He had a huge task on his shoulders. Master, and the others are waiting for someone to appear. Do they know him? Zhou Ping said. He was shocked. He found it unbelievable. The hope of an era was placed on such a young man. Moreover, he was very weak. Yes. Master said that he needs something to trigger his awakening. I just hope that he can awaken, Yusin said sadly. She did not want to hurt Brother Fan. However, she had to do it. Only by doing so could she awaken Brother Fan. She and her Brother Fan were destined to be extraordinary people. They could not live ordinary lives. However, when the story reached this point, all the images disappeared. Lin Feng returned to the real world. He sat up and showed a shocked expression. Was everything that had happened in the dream real? If it was real, what happened after that? Would the two of them continue to misunderstand each other? Lin Feng had the feeling that even in the end, these two people still hadn't resolved the misunderstanding between them, right? Who is this Brother Fan? Lin Feng murmured. The past was like smoke. Everything was like a dream. Too many things were destined to become the past and be forgotten. The people of the future racked their brains to find out the history that had disappeared. However, they could not find out the truth. Not long after, Fire Qilin and the others came out of seclusion. When the Fire Unicorn and the others saw Lin Feng, they were extremely happy. Lin Feng was also very happy. Lin Feng saw Little Moon. The little girl of the past had already grown into a beautiful woman. Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint had also come out of seclusion. They had also obtained great benefits, and were on the verge of a breakthrough. The evil Dominator Saint was formed from an emperor corpse. Therefore, it might be easier for him to break through. Du Zhu was at the peak of the boundary emperor realm in the past. Now, he had cultivated to this level again. He had comprehended a lot over the years and also peeked into the mysteries of the emperor realm. Perhaps soon, the two of them would become emperors. Du Zhu and the evil Dominator Saint were loyal to Lin Feng. If they became emperors, to Lin Feng, it would be a great help. Lin Feng was waiting for the Great Ping King, the Peacock King, and the Fire Crow Taoist to come out of seclusion. The matter at Immortal Gazing Ridge had come to an end. Therefore, Lin Feng planned to join forces with the Great Ping King and the others to kill the foreign creatures. The threat of the foreign creatures was too great. It was much greater than the threat of ordinary emperors. If they did not kill the foreign creatures as soon as possible, it would definitely be a disaster for the 9 states. However, the outside world was not calm. The myriad races, the extraterritorial races, the other external forces, the Geomaster lineage, and the hidden Imperial Dao clan had all spread the word. They would send experts to kill Lin Feng personally. These major forces are finally serious. Lin Feng won't be able to jump around for long. Chapter 30-37. In the ancestral territory of the animal clan, Lin Feng knew everything about the outside world, because it was easy to receive news from the outside world. Lin Feng was well aware of the factions that wanted to kill him. There were many reasons why they wanted to get rid of him, but the main reason wasn't because Lin Feng was a great threat to them. In terms of threat, great emperors like Great Peking posed a greater threat. The main reason was that Lin Feng had too many amazing treasures on him, and Lin Feng hadn't reached the Great Emperor realm yet. It was relatively easy to deal with. When one had so many precious treasures on them, and their cultivation wasn't particularly strong, it was normal for them to be targeted. More and more factions learned about the extraordinary inheritances Lin Feng had. Therefore, they were all eyeing Lin Feng covetously, wanting to kill Lin Feng and steal his treasures and inheritances. If they killed Lin Feng, they could even steal Lin Feng's monstrous fortune. Because of this, these factions banded together to deal with Lin Feng. After hearing the news, Lin Feng only sneered. He wasn't afraid of these people. Cultivation was a heaven-defying path, and one had to kill all those who stood in their way. Only then could one reach peak immortal. Because Lin Feng had left the ancestral land, the factions outside couldn't deal with Lin Feng even if they wanted to. Lin Feng finally waited for Great Peking, Peacock King, and Fire Crow Taoists to come out of seclusion. They were comprehending a terrifying sacred art. Now that they'd come out, they should have succeeded. There's no time to lose. Let's go to the overseas world now, Peacock King said. Lin Feng nodded and left with Peacock King, Great Peking, and Fire Crow Taoist. He'd already received the news. Stone Puppet King left the ancient demon state and returned to the Dragonfire state. Lin Feng sent Evil Dominator Saint with his letter to invite Stone Puppet King to deal with the otherworldly beings. Lin Feng bid farewell to Feng Yaorao and the others, then left with Great Peking and the others. There are 2 more Taoists who will meet us in the overseas world, Great Peking said. Lin Feng was overjoyed. The 3 great emperors had said that they would invite other great emperors, and now they really did invite them. Including the Stone Puppet King, they had 6 great emperors on their side. The evil Scorpion Lord was a very terrifying person in the past. Even though he has not recovered his strength, he still has some of his abilities. Therefore, if we attack him, he might be able to sense it in advance. He will definitely be on guard. This ability to sense danger in advance is called sudden inspiration, Taoist Flaming Crow said. This was a special sensing ability produced by a top-notch expert. This ability was very terrifying. It could help these top-notch experts seek fortune and avoid calamity. Some high-level Great Emperor Realm experts often had this kind of terrifying ability. Therefore, they were able to sense the arrival of danger in advance. Therefore, it was extremely difficult to kill high-level Great Emperors. The reason why it was so difficult was because of this terrifying ability to sense danger in advance. This battle will be very troublesome. It might be a battle between great emperors, Great Peking said. He also sensed a bloody storm coming. It wouldn't be so simple. It would be extremely dangerous. An unimaginable battle would break out. Great emperors might fall on their side as well. Even though they knew how dangerous this battle was, Great Peking and the others still chose to fight. They were worried about the safety of the 9 states. Currently, evil Sacred Scorpion Lord was more of a threat than any other living being. This was because evil Sacred Scorpion Lord used to be too powerful. The great emperors even thought that he was an immortal at his peak. If that was the case, then evil Sacred Scorpion Lord could recover his cultivation to the immortal realm in a short time. If one were to cultivate step by step, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to reach this realm. But as a foreign being, evil Sacred Scorpion Lord's recovery ability was too shocking. Therefore, it was necessary to eliminate evil Sacred Scorpion Lord. If they couldn't kill him in time, the 9 states would really suffer. In the past, all the planets that were invaded by the foreign beings were completely destroyed. It was said that the foreign beings had the ability to devour the origin of life planets. If a cultivator lost their origin, their life would come to an end. It was the same for life planets. Once they lost their origin, their life would come to an end. Originally, there were 3,000 great worlds. But now, there weren't even 1,000 great worlds left. Some great worlds were destroyed in the Great Wars. There was also a large portion of the great worlds that were destroyed by the foreign creatures. Those great worlds lost their vitality and turned into desolate worlds. Living beings could no longer survive in those great worlds. After returning to the Dragon Gate, Lin Feng arranged for Great Ping King, Peacock King, and Fire Crow Taoist to stay for the time being. Fire Crow Taoist was proficient in the art of divination. He had been divining the whereabouts of evil sacred scorpion lord recently. He gradually made some progress. On this day, the Stone Puppet King arrived. The king had gone to the dark world of Immortal Gazing Ridge, but Lin Feng didn't see him. Perhaps he had his own reasons for entering the dark world. The myriad weaponry was only one of the opportunities in the dark world. The dark world wasn't simple and contained many other powerful opportunities. For example, the combat arts that Great Ping King and the others cultivated were derived from an item Fire Crow Taoist brought out of the dark world. The Stone Puppet King was valiant and heroic like an ancient god of war. He had turned into a body of flesh and blood and was about to enter the next stage of evolution. However, he wouldn't do so immediately. He needed some time to settle down. On the 3rd day after the Stone Puppet King's arrival, 2 more powerful cultivators appeared. The first cultivator was an expert from the demon race. He was a giant sea turtle that had turned into a demon expert. He had lived for a very long time and called himself the Black Turtle Emperor. The second cultivator was the Great Emperor of the human race. This great emperor was tall and had a full beard on his face. He looked very wild. His name was Han Teng, an expert of the reclusive house of Han. Not all of these secluded clans and sects only wanted to reap the benefits without caring about the lives of billions of people in the 9 provinces. For example, the House of Han was a warmonger. 6 great emperors gathered in the Dragon Gate. Lin Feng took out all kinds of treasures, as well as his own methods and powerful treasures. His battle prowess was equivalent to an initial great emperor. Thus, the Dragon Gate had gathered 7 great emperors. And now, a storm was brewing. Chapter 30-38. The Fire Crow Taoist was still trying to deduce the whereabouts of the sacred scorpion evil lord. After many attempts, he finally managed to deduce a place. There was a dangerous place in the West Sea called Broken God Island. It was an extremely terrifying place, rumored to be filled with demonic oddities. It was said that there was a death arena left behind countless years ago on Broken God Island. Once one stepped onto the arena, they would not be able to step onto it unless they fought to the death. The Stone Puppet King said, "It seems that the sacred scorpion evil lord came prepared. This trip will be dangerous. Everyone be careful," the Fire Crow Taoist warned before leaving. It was indeed as the Fire Crow Taoist had said. This trip was extremely dangerous, and the slightest carelessness could lead to death. Thus, they had to be careful. Soon, the group of 7 set off. The only unfortunate thing was that they could not contact the old emperor. If they could get in touch with the old emperor, their combat power would increase greatly. There was also the Red World Fairy. If she had come, their battle strength would have also greatly increased. However, Lin Feng and the others did not have much time to wait. The otherworldly creatures were recovering too quickly. If they waited any longer, they would have to wait until the otherworldly creatures recovered. By then, it would be too late. Blue waves rippled across the West Sea. This place was rich in resources, so there were many powerful forces scattered around. The most powerful force was naturally Buddhism. Originally, the myriad races, the Outer Realm races, and the other forces were quite afraid of Buddhism, so they did not infiltrate the West Sea. However, more and more experts from these three forces had arrived in the 9 provinces. These three forces no longer cared about Buddhism. Buddhism was too mysterious, always shrouded in a veil of mystery. When these three forces began to compete for the resources of the West Sea, Buddhism did not make a move. Thus, the myriad races, the Outer Realm races, and the other forces became more and more arrogant as of late. Some of the islands built by Buddhism were also occupied by these forces, and the temples on the islands were even torn down. The ancient starship Xianyuan quickly flew above the West Sea. Someone had their eyes on Lin Feng's ancient starship. "I've seen this ship before. It's the ancient ship controlled by Lin Feng. If this ship appeared in the West Sea, could Lin Feng be in the West Sea?" The cultivator who stared at the ancient starship Xianyuan sneered. This was an alien cultivator. Soon the news spread. The news that Lin Feng was suspected to have come to the West Sea quickly spread throughout the West Sea. "Just in time! There's a path to heaven, but you refuse to take it. There's no door to hell, but you barge in. Lin Feng, your death has arrived!" Cold laughter rang out. Many cultivators from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces wanted to kill Lin Feng. Many of them had been at the peak of the quasi-emperor realm for hundreds of thousands of years. There were even cultivators who had lived for over 1,000,000 years. These cultivators were all very powerful. Their combat strength could be said to be heaven-defying. Although they had not broken through to the great emperor realm, their strength was already very close to the great emperor realm. There were more than 20 such experts, and each of them had an extraordinary status. Each of them led a large number of experts to surround Lin Feng's Xianyuan ancient starship. "Not good. Lin Feng is surrounded by so many experts. Even some god emperors might die in the hands of so many experts. Lin Feng is in danger." Many cultivators from the 9 prefectures had also arrived. When they saw the Xianyuan ancient starship being surrounded, they couldn't help but worry for Lin Feng. Although Lin Feng was powerful, he was still too young. The myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces had dispatched so many experts to surround and kill Lin Feng. It was too difficult for him to fight against so many experts alone. Therefore, everyone's worry wasn't without reason. "Lin Feng, come out and accept your death. Lin Feng, your death has arrived. Have you thought about how you're going to die? Lin Feng, I'll make sure you die a miserable death later. Lin Feng, this day next year will be your death anniversary." Cold shouts could not help but be heard, filled with endless killing intent. At this time, Lin Feng walked out of the cabin. He glanced at the densely packed cultivators around him and said indifferently, "A bunch of fools who don't know the difference between life and death. Your little grandpa has something important to deal with right now. I don't have the time to deal with you. Scram as far as you can, and this little grandpa can still spare your dog lives. Otherwise, I'll make you all play chess with the king of hell." After hearing Lin Feng's extremely arrogant words, the cultivators from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces were all furious. Lin Feng actually dared to humiliate them like this. This made them go crazy with anger. The cultivators from the 9 prefectures couldn't help but smile bitterly. They knew that Lin Feng was a powerful figure. However, the situation was obviously very dangerous now. Yet Lin Feng still acted so domineering. "I'm afraid that it will make my situation even worse, right? Ignorant fools, attack together and kill him," a cultivator from the myriad races said coldly. Someone recognized the cultivator from the myriad races. That cultivator had a terrifying origin. His name was Gu Yinzhong, and he was from the myriad races' heavenly eye race. He was from the royal family of the myriad races. Gu Yinzhong had been immersed in the peak of the quasi-emperor realm for 1.2 million years. It was said that he already had the ability to break through to the great emperor realm. However, he didn't choose to break through. Instead, he continued to consolidate his cultivation. He wanted to amaze the world with a single brilliant feat when he broke through. "Kill, tear Lin Feng into pieces!" The cultivators roared loudly. Their voices shook the sky. "Let's start with an appetizer. Lin Feng sneered. Next, he calmly ordered his godly realm clone to activate the giant spirit stone cannons on the ancient starship. Boom, 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 a dense cluster of huge spirit stone cannonballs flew out and then exploded. Many people were blasted into a bloody mess. However, a large number of cultivators still charged over. They wanted to board the ancient starship and kill Lin Feng. However, the ancient starship's restrictions were very strong and kept them outside. Lin Feng, you coward! Get out here and die! The group of cultivators roared. Lin Feng curled his lips and looked at them disdainfully. After activating the ancient starship's restrictions, it could kill most of the cultivators. However, that would be a waste of time. Lin Feng walked out of the ancient starship and sneered. Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. Lin Feng brought out a powerful magnetic field. After being enveloped by the magnetic field, many cultivators felt that they couldn't move. Lin Feng's magnetic field was abnormally terrifying. Its restrictive power was too strong. Pooh! Pooh! Lin Feng was like a grim reaper. He started to reap the lives of the cultivators from the myriad races, the alien races, and the other forces. Lin Feng beheaded the cultivators from the myriad races, the alien races, and the other forces. Blood splattered everywhere. Chapter 30-39. It was the first time for many people to see Lin Feng in action. In the past, they had only heard that Lin Feng was very powerful. However, they had never seen Lin Feng in action, so they did not have a specific idea of how powerful Lin Feng was. Now, Lin Feng was surrounded by so many strong cultivators, as if there was no one there, and on top of that, he was slaughtering them all. This caused everyone to reveal an expression of disbelief. It was as if they had seen a ghost. Such a battle had completely subverted everyone's imagination. Those myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign cultivators originally thought that Lin Feng would die under the siege of so many experts, but the actual situation was beyond their expectations. The strength that Lin Feng displayed was really too powerful. Facing such a terrifying existence, those who besieged Lin Feng even felt a deep sense of despair. Many people wanted to leave this place quickly, but they were shocked to find that the powerful pressure that enveloped them was constantly increasing. Moreover, their combat strength was greatly suppressed. They could not use much of their cultivation at all. Therefore, facing Lin Feng's attack, it was very difficult for them to contend with him. Their strength was not as good as Lin Feng's. They were also suppressed so much. How could they contend with Lin Feng? In fact, the current situation was that many people were already unable to make a move. Because it was already very difficult for them to move, let alone use their magic power to deal with Lin Feng. They had not even used their magic power yet. They had already been killed by Lin Feng. Even those cultivators who had been immersed in the peak of the Quasi-Emperor realm for hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years were now unable to contend with Lin Feng. Their expressions became extremely unsightly. Because they felt an aura of death enveloping their bodies. This feeling was really terrible. These people were extremely powerful. They had never thought that one day they would end up like this. A deep sense of horror emerged in everyone's mind. Only now did they know. According to the rumors, Lin Feng was much scarier than they had imagined. The biggest difference between these peak Quasi-Emperor realm cultivators and ordinary Quasi-Emperor realm cultivators was that their bodies were not completely confined by Lin Feng's magnetic field. They could still move, but their speed was greatly reduced, and their combat power was greatly reduced. Seeing Lin Feng's killing spree, these people had completely lost the will to continue fighting with Lin Feng. Because Lin Feng was too terrifying. Apart from the great emperors, Lin Feng was too terrifying. These people couldn't think of any cultivator who could defeat Lin Feng. Perhaps among the younger generation, only those super geniuses that appeared once in a million years could defeat Lin Feng. But they obviously couldn't reach that level. Therefore, these peak quasi-emperors did not dare to stay here any longer. They all fled outside in a sorry state. When the surrounding cultivators who were watching the show saw so many experts, they all began to flee frantically. Everyone had an expression of disbelief on their faces. There were so many powerful cultivators, and many of them were famous experts. However, the battle had only just begun. They were actually scared out of their wits by Lin Feng. Is Lin Feng already so powerful? Many people couldn't help but mutter to themselves. For the cultivators of the 9 states, seeing Lin Feng so powerful, they were naturally filled with joy and incomparable joy. Because they saw Lin Feng as the hope of revitalizing the 9 states. Lin Feng had always been a figure of the younger generation. In the eyes of many cultivators of the 9 states, if there was someone among the younger generation of the 9 states who could become an emperor, it would be Lin Feng. And these myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign cultivators were all very angry and terrified. They really wanted to kill Lin Feng. But time and time again, the results made them extremely disappointed and annoyed. It made them extremely angry. They originally thought that this time, Lin Feng would definitely die tragically in the hands of these myriad races experts. But, in the end, they were disappointed once again. Lin Feng was still living a carefree life. Moreover, as time passed, Lin Feng's cultivation would definitely become stronger and stronger. At that time, it would be even more difficult to kill Lin Feng. Many people felt that it was already necessary to invite a great Emperor Realm expert to kill Lin Feng. If Lin Feng broke through to the great Emperor Realm, with the heaven-defying ability that Lin Feng had displayed now, at that time, it was very likely that he would be able to challenge those of a higher realm in the Great Emperor Realm. And once he broke through to the Great Emperor Realm, he would possess many unimaginable and terrifying abilities. If Lin Feng had mastered those incredible abilities, he would have been able to do so. It would be very difficult to kill him. Just like the sudden inspiration ability mentioned earlier. Generally speaking, only high-level Great Emperors could comprehend this ability. And not every high-level Great Emperor could comprehend this special ability. But it didn't mean that those low-level Great Emperors couldn't comprehend this ability. Some cultivators who had just broken through to the Great Emperor Realm not long ago. In fact, if they were lucky enough, they could also comprehend this sudden inspiration ability. Of course, this ability was too heaven-defying, and there were very few low-level Great Emperors who could comprehend this ability. But with Lin Feng's talent, it was very likely that he could do this. Because ever since Lin Feng was known by everyone, the things that he had done were legendary. Even if the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other cultivators from other forces hated Lin Feng very much. But they had to admit that Lin Feng was indeed too heaven-defying. And they had to admit another point too. That was Lin Feng's talent. Even if it was compared to the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other top geniuses from other forces, and even those top geniuses that only appeared once in a million years. His talent was even stronger than those top geniuses. Because Lin Feng's combat power was too terrifying. In terms of talent, the human race couldn't compare to the other races, but Lin Feng's combat power was so much stronger than the other races' cultivators. What did this mean? This meant that Lin Feng's talent must be incomparably terrifying. He was different from the ordinary human race. Who knew how many tens of thousands of years such a person would appear? And everyone had heard of Lin Feng's other terrifying ability, which was that Lin Feng's physical body was very strong. The human race's physical body was weak, but Lin Feng actually turned the human race's weakest weakness into his own advantage. This was the most terrifying part. Now, they couldn't find any weakness on Lin Feng's body. People like Lin Feng had to be killed quickly. If they couldn't kill him quickly, they would have to wait until Lin Feng became stronger in the future. Chapter 30-40. The cultivators of the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces were very clear about this. Some of them had already planned to tell the higher-ups of their forces about this matter, and get them to send Great Emperor Realm experts to kill Lin Feng. Of course, it was impossible for these great emperors to kill Lin Feng openly. Because the force behind Lin Feng was extremely powerful. First of all, Lin Feng's master was the famous Lord Turtle. No one knew how powerful Lord Turtle was. However, some people made guesses about Lord Turtle's strength. Those people felt that Lord Turtle was at least a high-level Great Emperor realm existence. Other than Lord Turtle, there was also the old Emperor of the human race. Previously, the old Emperor of the human race had threatened the myriad races. If the myriad races' great emperors dared to attack the younger generation of cultivators in the 9 prefectures, then the old emperor of the human race would head to the heavenly sage great world. Kill the myriad races and thousands races. This old emperor of the human race was not only threatening the myriad races, but also warning the great emperors of the extraterritorial races and other foreign forces. Many people in these 3 forces might be very disdainful of this matter. This was because there were too many experts of the myriad races. Naturally, they wouldn't be afraid of the old emperor of the human race. However, after the old emperor of the human race issued his threat, the great emperors of the myriad races became extremely obedient. This was enough to explain a lot of things. Only now did everyone realize that the old emperor of the human race's origin was definitely not simple. The old emperor of the human race's strength must be extremely terrifying to be able to intimidate so many powerful figures of the myriad races. Therefore, even if these great emperors wanted to deal with Lin Feng, they could only secretly deal with Lin Feng. He didn't want to attack Lin Feng so brazenly. Seeing the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and cultivators of other foreign forces fleeing in a sorry state, Lin Feng didn't chase after them. He said indifferently, "A group of ants dares to cause trouble for me. They are simply courting death. Even if they are great emperors, I have a way to kill them." Lin Feng's voice was like a bell, spreading far and wide. After hearing Lin Feng's words, many cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races and other external forces wanted to refute Lin Feng, because they felt that Lin Feng was too arrogant. Lin Feng was indeed powerful, but he dared to claim that he could kill an Emperor Realm expert even though he had yet to enter the Emperor Realm. He thought too highly of himself. But at this time, no one dared to refute Lin Feng, unless they didn't want to live anymore. The battle prowess that Lin Feng had displayed before made many people turn pale with fright. It's said that the danger in the depths of Broken Deity Island isn't any lower than the land of death. Could Lin Feng's purpose in coming to the West Sea be Broken Deity Island? Then, another cultivator said. Many people began to speculate about Lin Feng's purpose in coming to the West Sea. More and more cultivators followed behind the ancient starship Xian Yuan. Another 5 days passed. Lin Feng finally saw the Broken Deity Island. It was rumored to be the evil island of the West Sea. Countless strange and terrifying things had happened on the Broken Deity Island. There was a huge blood-red arena erected on the Broken Deity Island. This blood-red arena was the rumored arena of death. Once one entered the arena of death, one had to fight to the death. Otherwise, one would never be able to leave the arena of death. Lin Feng, Great Pink King, Peacock King, Fire Crow Taoist, Stone Puppet King, Black Turtle Heavenly Emperor, and Han Ten all flew out of the ancient starship Xian Yuan. After seeing the 7 people flying out of the ancient starship Xian Yuan, many cultivators in the distance turned pale with fright. Except for Lin Feng, the other 6 were all Heavenly Emperor Realm experts. Heavens, someone tried to kill Lin Feng before. They were really courting death. Even a Heavenly Emperor Realm expert would have died. A cultivator said. Previously, only Lin Feng had made a move. The other 6 Heavenly Emperors hadn't made a move yet. If these 6 Heavenly Emperors had made a move, who knew what kind of terrifying bloodbath it would have caused? Why did these Heavenly Emperors come to Broken Deity Island with Lin Feng? Many people were puzzled. Chapter 3041. Broken God Island was shrouded in a mysterious veil. It was a terrifying place. Very few people dared to set foot on the island. Of course, there were the occasional curious cultivator who set foot on the island. They wanted to pry into the island's secrets, but they ended up dying miserably on the island. Today, Broken God Island was known as the Life Forbidden Zone. It meant that living beings were not allowed to enter as they wished. Lin Feng and the others entered the island. The evil Scorpion Lord and the others had yet to arrive, but Lin Feng knew that they must be hiding on the island. "Evil Scorpion Lord, come out! We know you're here!" Lin Feng said coldly. "Keek keek." Then, a series of sinister laughter resounded throughout the world. The evil Scorpion Lord flew out of the forest. His aura was even stronger and more terrifying now. It seemed that his strength had increased greatly again. "Lin Feng! You lowly ant, you've grown really fast. If I don't get rid of you, you'll be a huge problem." The evil Scorpion Lord looked at Lin Feng with a sinister gaze. Lin Feng said indifferently, "I remember that you were almost killed by me back then. How dare you call me an ant? Don't you feel like you're slapping your own face?" "You!" Hearing Lin Feng's words, the evil Scorpion Lord's face darkened. His eyes flashed with killing intent. "This kid has a glib tongue. There's no need to argue with him. You!" At that moment, a second cold voice rang out. Following that, a cultivator in black robes appeared. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw this person. He felt that this person was familiar, but he couldn't recall who he was. The Great Pink King, Peacock King, and Fire Crow Taoist frowned when they saw this cultivator. They also felt that this person was familiar, but like Lin Feng, they couldn't recall who he was. "What? Don't you recognize me?" The black-robed cultivator glared at Lin Feng, the Peacock King, the Great Pink King, and the Fire Crow Taoist. Seeing that pair of sinister eyes, Lin Feng's heart suddenly jumped. A figure suddenly appeared in his mind. "Impossible! Your soul has already been scattered. How can you still be resurrected?" Lin Feng said in disbelief. By this time, the Great Pink King, Peacock King, and Fire Crow Taoist had also guessed the identity of this person. This person's appearance and aura had changed. However, his expression, as well as that pair of eyes emitting a sinister gaze, was so familiar. Back then, Lin Feng, the Cursed Doll, the Great Pink King, the Peacock King, and the Fire Crow Taoist worked together to kill the foreign creature released by Dugu Di Tian. At that time, they beat that foreign creature's soul until it scattered. Lin Feng understood this matter extremely clearly. Meanwhile, the existence before him was precisely that foreign creature. "My methods are naturally not something a lowly ant like you can imagine," the foreign creature said coldly. Lin Feng suddenly thought of Huang Fuqingtian. This guy had been killed by him back then. However, Huang Fuqingtian's mother had used Huang Fuqingtian's memories to create a new soul. The new Huang Fuqingtian was naturally very different from the original Huang Fuqingtian. Although he still had part of the original Huang Fuqingtian's memories, in reality, his soul was no longer the same soul as before. Lin Feng guessed that someone had used the same soul reconstruction technique as Huang Fuqingtian's mother to create a new soul. And in this new soul, part of the original foreign creature's memories had been fused. After figuring this out, Lin Feng sneered and said, "Ridiculous and stupid guy, you're just a new creature now. You're no longer the foreign creature from before. You don't have many abilities anymore, yet you still dare to boast shamelessly here. If we could kill you once before, we can kill you a second time now. I've long heard that you're incomparably arrogant. Today, I see that you really live up to your reputation. It's really a miracle that someone with such an arrogant character can live to this day." Just then, a skinny cultivator tore open the void and appeared. This cultivator was actually a human cultivator. His entire body emitted a cold and terrifying aura. This person should have cultivated an extremely terrifying evil cultivation method. A human cultivator? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. A human cultivator was actually mixed up with these foreign creatures. Lin Feng instantly thought of the Taishang Immortal Sect and the Earth Master lineage. He wondered which sect this person belonged to. "He's Nangong Jing from the Taishang Immortal Sect." Some cultivators of 9 provinces recognized the human cultivator and couldn't help but exclaim, "What? He's Nangong Jing, the sect master of the Taishang immortal sect from 500,000 years ago. Didn't he pass away long ago? Many people couldn't help but exclaim upon hearing this. It was simply unbelievable. The Taishang immortal sect is really despicable. They're traitors of 9 provinces. Then, many cultivators of 9 provinces began to curse. The Taishang immortal sect's actions over the years had caused everyone to abandon them. The cultivators of 9 provinces hated the Taishang immortal sect to the bone. Lin Feng also heard the discussions of the cultivators outside, and a dense killing intent immediately appeared in his eyes. The 2 forces he hated the most now were the Taishang immortal sect and the Earth Master lineage. This was because these 2 forces had formed an alliance with the myriad races, the foreign races, and other foreign forces. They helped these people to harm the cultivators of 9 provinces, betraying their ancestors for glory. They were extremely despicable. Who else is there? Come out together. There's no need to hide. Fire crowed Taoist sneered. There are very few great emperors in 9 provinces. Now that the 6 great emperors of 9 provinces have arrived and killed the 6 of you, 9 provinces will completely fall. Loud laughter rang out. Shinuya of the ancient god clan flew out. Then, the heavenly demon saint of the heavenly demon clan also flew out. Soon, a few more great emperors flew out. The great emperor of the Star Moon clan, Sikong Xian. The great emperor of the Star clan, Dong Fong Hongtian. The great emperor of the 9 mysteries great world, Song Daozhong. The heaven-devouring tiger of the mysterious soul great world. The great emperor of the 9-headed insect clan, Xing Mia. The great emperor of the earth master lineage, Su Tianqing. On Lin Feng's side, there were a total of 7 people, including Lin Feng. On the other hand, the other side had 11 great emperors. Seeing this scene, the cultivators of the myriad races, the foreign races, and other foreign forces were all excited. A war of great emperors was about to break out on Broken God Island. The great emperors of the myriad races, the foreign races, and other foreign forces had joined forces with the foreign creatures and the 2 great emperors of 9 provinces. There were a total of 11 great emperors. Lin Feng's side only had 6 great emperors. The disparity in strength was huge. A war of great emperors had broken out. The cultivators of the myriad races, the foreign races, and other foreign forces all felt that Lin Feng and the others would definitely die this time. L. Chapter 3042. The disparity in strength between the 2 sides was simply too great. Anyone who saw such a situation, everyone would be worried for Lin Feng and the others. Moreover, in the eyes of many people, although Lin Feng was strong, he was still unable to participate in the emperor battle. If the battle really broke out then, when the time came, they would have to exclude Lin Feng. In that case, there were only 6 people on Lin Feng's side. 6 people against 11 great emperors. It was almost 1 against 2. Such a great disparity in strength. Once a great battle broke out, the final outcome could be imagined. Therefore, the cultivators of the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces, as well as the cultivators of the 9 states, were completely in a state of mind of ice and fire. There were very few great emperors in the 9 states to begin with. If so many great emperors died at once, 9 regions was really going to fall completely. This was something that no one could deny. Let's kill these people, the foreign creature said sinisterly. Ha ha ha, I'll use the ultimate killing formation here first and see if I can kill a few people. Su Tianqing couldn't help but laugh out loud. He made a series of hand seals with both hands. Instantly, runes condensed one after another. Those runes merged into the restrictions of the Broken God Island. Rumble! Suddenly, something terrifying happened. Within Broken God Island, waves of violent fluctuations that were terrifying to the point of causing one's face to turn pale with fright surged out. Immediately after, the sea around the Broken God Island was filled with rolling waves. Huge waves surged into the sky. The huge waves that soared into the sky were like huge dragons. They bared their fangs and brandished their claws, roaring and shaking the sky. On the surface of the Broken God Island, densely packed restrictions merged together and turned into thick chains. Those chains merged together as if they had transformed into an inescapable net. Each chain contained the power to destroy the heavens. The chain swung gently. Instantly, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sun and moon lost their light. What a terrifying net of chains! The spectating cultivators couldn't stop themselves from crying out in shock. The net of chains of order that sealed off the world back then seemed to contain a world-destroying might. It was so terrifying that it caused them to turn pale. If such a terrifying net of chains of order were to strike Lin Feng's group would likely be in great trouble. Not to mention, there were also the other 10 great emperors eyeing Lin Feng's group like tigers eyeing their prey. Su Tianqing is truly peerless and terrifying. He is an expert of the Geomaster lineage and possesses many mysterious and unfathomable means. He can even control the restrictive spells of this type of life-forbidden zone. Lin Feng and the others are dead for sure this time. Ha ha ha, not only did they get rid of Lin Feng, they also got rid of the 6 emperors of the 9 prefectures. After these people are dead, there are not many capable people left in the 9 prefectures. The cultivators of the myriad races, foreign races, and other foreign forces all laughed out loud. It was as if they could see the scene of Lin Feng's group being killed. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures had solemn expressions. Facing such a dangerous situation, they couldn't help but worry about Lin Feng's group. However, they were powerless to do anything now and could only watch all of this happen. Now, they could only hope that Lin Feng's group could break out of the encirclement. As for Lin Feng's group defeating 11 great emperors, they had never thought about it. However, to everyone's surprise, Lin Feng's group did not choose to break out of the encirclement. Facing Su Tianqing's attack, Lin Feng took a step forward. Lin Feng sneered and said, "Old bastard of the Geomaster lineage, you stole the inheritance of my heavenly master lineage, but you only learned a little. Without the cultivation method of the Stone Emperor scripture, you won't be able to control the essence of my heavenly master lineage." The technique that Su Tianqing used was the 9 veins of heaven and 9 veins of earth passed down by the heavenly master lineage. However, this technique was very special. It required the Stone Emperor scripture as the foundation to truly display the power of this inheritance. Su Tianqing did not understand the Stone Emperor scripture. He relied on his own strength. He forcefully activated this divine ability. Lin Feng mocked Su Tianqing while circulating the Stone Emperor scripture to activate the supreme technique passed down by the heavenly master lineage. Numerous runes flew out, flying towards the inescapable net that was descending from the sky. The huge inescapable net directly separated. It once again turned into chains of order. Roar! Suddenly, a loud dragon's roar resounded through the clouds. The dense chains of order condensed into a huge dragon. A total of 11 giant dragons were condensed. These 11 giant dragons charged towards the 11 great emperors. What a powerful technique! This Lin Feng is really amazing. At such a young age, not only is his combat strength powerful, but he has also cultivated the inheritance of the heavenly master lineage to such a profound level. It's really unbelievable. This Lin Feng really deserves to be killed. Otherwise, he will definitely be the greatest threat in the future. The cultivators of the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces looked at Lin Feng with murderous eyes. Originally, after Su Tianqing used this secret technique, the 6 great emperors of the 9 states were about to be suppressed. At this time, the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, the other foreign forces, and the other great emperors could attack and kill the 6 great emperors of the 9 states in one fell swoop. However, such a perfect plan was destroyed by Lin Feng just like that. If they wanted to kill the 6 great emperors of the 9 states, it would probably take a lot of effort. When the cultivators of the 9 states saw how tyrannical Lin Feng's methods were, they could not help but be pleasantly surprised. Could there be a miracle in this battle? Bang, 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 bang! The 11 great emperors had extraordinary methods and blocked the attacks of the law dragons. Su Tianqing's face suddenly became gloomy. In terms of controlling these restriction laws, he was actually suppressed by a junior like Lin Feng. This made Su Tianqing go mad with hatred. He felt an unprecedented shame and humiliation. Ha 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 ha, young friend, your methods are really extraordinary. Han Ting could not help but laugh. Senior, you flatter me. Lin Feng responded modestly. Then, he continued to control the restriction laws and condense them into law dragons to attack the 11 great emperors. The 6 great emperors of the 9 states attacked together, and the 2 sides immediately engaged in a fierce battle. Lin Feng's method of controlling the formation was really extraordinary. Although they had fewer people on their side, they did not fall into a disadvantage in the battle against the 11 great emperors. However, it was not easy to kill them. After all, the other side had many people and all of their methods were terrifying. The evil Scorpion Lord said eerily, "If this continues, we won't be able to determine the winner. Why don't you step onto the death arena? Life and death are up to fate. Do you dare?" Once they entered the death arena, one person had to die. Otherwise, they would not be able to leave the death arena. Chapter 3043. That's right. Do you dare to fight in the arena of death? You have 7 people on your side, and so will we. Do you have the guts to fight one-on-one? Xingyue from the ancient god race said. Myriad races, extraterritorial races, and great emperors from other factions. Of course, this included the Holy Scorpion Evil Lord, another otherworldly being, Nangong Jing, Su Tianqing, and the others. They were all very confident in their own strength. In particular, they had a few great emperors with extremely ancient origins. For example, Su Tianqing was a great emperor from the chaotic era. The celestial demon saint, Xingyue, Sikong Xian, and Dong Fang Hongtian were all great emperors from the primordial era. As for the Holy Scorpion Evil Lord, he was an otherworldly being. It was unknown how terrifying his means were. The other great emperors were also cultivators who had been in the great emperor realm for hundreds of thousands of years. On Lin Feng's side, Lin Feng's cultivation was at the boundary emperor realm. The Peacock King and the Great Pink King had only reached the great emperor realm in recent years. The Fire Crow Taoist had only reached the great emperor realm a few tens of thousands of years ago. Although the Stone Puppet King was extremely powerful, it had undergone a metamorphosis in its life order, and its fighting strength was far from its peak. Among the 6 of them, only the Black Turtle Emperor and Han Ting had been great emperors for a longer time. They were from the primordial era and had become great emperors 400 to 500,000 years ago. But even if that was the case, Lin Feng's side would be at a disadvantage if they had to fight to the death in the arena. However, it would be different in a group battle. Lin Feng's side had fewer people, but because Lin Feng knew how to control the formation, he could fight against 11 great emperors. What's wrong? Are you not saying anything because you don't dare to accept the challenge? If you don't even have the courage to accept the challenge, your path of cultivation has come to an end, Su Tianqing said sinisterly. This old man was extremely sinister. He purposely put pressure on Lin Feng's side, causing inner demons to appear in their hearts. If Lin Feng and the others refused to accept the challenge in the arena of death, some of them might really develop inner demons because of what happened today. From then on, it would be difficult for them to improve their cultivation. If the situation was more serious, it might even cause him to go berserk. This kind of thing was hard to say, and it was very likely to happen. Let's fight! Who's afraid of you? Han Teng, who was a hot-tempered cultivator, responded with a sneer. The others nodded as well. The great emperors were not afraid to fight. Ha ha ha, these guys are too stupid. They agreed to fight just because they were provoked. Lin Feng, a quasi-emperor, will definitely die if he participates in the Emperor War. Among the 6 emperors of the 9 prefectures, the Great Pink King, the Peacock King, and the Fire Crow Taoist have only become emperors for a short period of time. How much battle strength can they have? Only the Stone Puppet King, Han Ting, and the Black Tortoise Great Emperor are worthy of being called out. However, the myriad races, the extraterrestrial races, and the other great worlds all have great emperors who have cultivated for more than 1,000,000 years. The 3 great emperors of the 9 continents are nothing to fear. That's right. These fellows actually chose to accept the challenge. This time, they're dead for sure. Just wait and see. The myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other cultivators saw that the great emperors on Lin Feng's side had chosen to fight. Suddenly, there was a flurry of discussion. They were all mocking the great emperors on Lin Feng's side. They were all full of disdain. In their opinion, the great emperors of the 9 continents were simply courting death. The outcome of this battle was already decided before the battle even started. The 9 continents cultivators couldn't help but worry for the great emperors on Lin Feng's side. Anyone who saw such a battle would probably be worried for the great emperors of the 9 continents. Whoosh! The Peacock King was the first to fly towards the arena of death. He was dressed in white, and his black hair draped over his shoulders. After so many years, he still looked as handsome as when he was 16 or 17 years old. Now, he descended on the arena of death like a young demonic god. He glanced in all directions, intimidating the world. "I'll kill you!" Great Emperor Xingnia of the myriad races flew out. Some time ago, Lin Feng and Taoist Wu Lian had joined forces to kill the injured Great Emperor Xie Xing of the 9-headed insectoid race. Now, another Great Emperor of the 9-headed insectoid race had arrived in the 9 continents. It was none other than Great Emperor Xingnia. Great Emperor Xingnia became a Great Emperor 270,000 years ago. The Peacock King became a Great Emperor because of the appearance of the ancient Chaos Nation, right? A myriad races cultivator asked. That's right. The Peacock King just became a Great Emperor not long ago. Do you think the Peacock King will be instantly killed by Great Emperor Xingnia? Another cultivator from the myriad races said. That's very likely. I think it's very likely as well. Let's wait and see. The myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces all agreed. They felt that the Peacock King could be instantly killed by Great Emperor Xingnia. They didn't think much of the Peacock King. The 9 continents cultivators were worried. The Peacock King was a new Great Emperor after all. How could he fight against these veteran Great Emperors? They naturally hoped that the Peacock King could defeat Great Emperor Xingnia, but many knew that it was just wishful thinking. Lin Feng sneered. The myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces were underestimating the Peacock King too much. Back then, the Peacock King and the Great Ping King had become the 2 geniuses of the Fiend race. They were regarded as the 2 most talented Fiend race cultivators in billions of years. Both of them were characters who could easily surpass a large realm in order to kill each other. It was just that the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces didn't know about it. 3 moves! I'll take your dog head in 3 moves! Great Emperor Xingnia, who had stepped into the death arena, stretched out 3 fingers. He looked at Peacock King with disdain, as if he was looking at a dead man. Great Emperor Xingnia is indeed a veteran Great Emperor. He's really domineering. The myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces all began to discuss excitedly. The 9 continents cultivators had gloomy eyes as they looked worriedly at the Peacock King in the death arena. Tao destroying immortal slaying technique! At this moment, Great Emperor Xingnia made his move. He leaped out and his body turned into a terrifying killing light. Then, he flew towards the Peacock King as fast as lightning. This divine ability was said to be able to destroy Tao and slay immortals. Its power was extremely terrifying. Peacock swallowing Buddha technique! The Peacock King let out a long cry and leaped out. Behind him, a huge shadow of a peacock appeared. It was rumored that Buddha Shakyamuni was swallowed by the Peacock Divine Mother. It could be seen how terrifying the peacock race was, and the Peacock Divine Mother was the ancestor of the peacock race. The Peacock King opened his mouth and suddenly inhaled. Instantly, a violent wind blew. The killing light that great Emperor Xing Nye transformed into flew uncontrollably towards the Peacock King. Great Emperor Xing Nye's expression changed drastically. He quickly transformed into his original body and rushed into the distance, wanting to escape this calamity. But it was too late. The Peacock King swallowed the sky. Chapter 3044. How is this possible? My eyes must be playing tricks on me, right? The cultivators roared in disbelief, unable to believe what they were seeing. A terrifying existence that had become an emperor 270,000 years ago. And now, the Peacock King had swallowed him just like that. It was truly shocking. Amazing, this is really amazing. The Peacock King is really powerful. The cultivators of the 9 prefectures discussed excitedly. It was really satisfying. The battle prowess displayed by the Peacock King made everyone excited. On the other hand, the cultivators from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces looked extremely gloomy. They originally thought that the Peacock King would be killed. But who would have thought that the result would be like this? It was truly beyond everyone's expectations. What was happening before their eyes was truly inconceivable and inconceivable. Of course, for the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other foreign forces, this was a great blow. It made their originally high spirits fall into a bottomless abyss. The peacock swallowing Buddha technique is rumored to be a supreme superpower passed down by the Mahamayuri. It is said that this superpower has been lost for a long time. I didn't expect that someone would still have this superpower. The evil scorpion lord's voice sank. After the peacock divine mother swallowed the Buddha, she did not manage to refine him. Instead, her back was cut open by the Buddha. The Buddha did not kill the peacock divine mother. Instead, he conferred the peacock divine mother as the Mahamayuri Bodhisattva. The Buddha served the peacock divine mother. The peacock race rose and fell for countless years after the Mahamayuri Bodhisattva. Now that the Peacock King's bloodline had been passed down, the peacock race might be able to recreate the glory of their ancestors. The Peacock King did not say anything and flew down from the death arena. The first battle. Lin Feng gained the upper hand by a show of strength. Everyone's morale was greatly boosted. Ha ha ha, let me fight the second battle! Han Teng laughed out loud, flew into the air, and landed on the death arena. I'll kill you! Dongfang Hongtian sneered and flew toward the death arena. Dongfang Hongtian was the emperor of the extraterritorial race, the Star Race. The Star Race was a very powerful race in the extraterritorial race, ruling over several huge star regions. There were many experts in the Star Race. The Star Tribe did not covet the resources of the 9 prefectures because the Star Tribe controlled countless resources. The real reason why the Star Tribe was interested in Jiuzhou was that there were many secrets hidden in Jiuzhou. The 9 prefectures was the starting point of all the worlds in the universe. It was the place where the world first changed. The door of everlasting life, the supreme divine court, the heaven-shaking stone tablet, and other treasures were said to be related to the 9 prefectures. The origin of the great worlds of the 9 prefectures was even more tempting. As the starting point of the myriad worlds, the world origin of the 9 prefectures was perhaps even more precious than the world origin of the 3 highest realms. If he could find the world origin of 9 regions and refine it, he might soon become an immortal. Dongfang Hongtian wasn't the only one who was trying to pry into the secrets of the 9 prefectures. Many other experts had the same goal as Dongfang Hongtian. After Dongfang Hongtian landed on the Death Arena, the formation runes of the Death Arena intertwined and sealed the entire arena. Dongfang Hongtian had already become a martial emperor 1,350,000 years ago. He was a figure from the end of the ancient era. He had lived for too long, and his battle prowess was so terrifying that it made people pale with fright. Spear of all worlds! Suddenly, Dongfang Hongtian made his move. With a loud roar, the world seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. A battle spear condensed in his hands. Dongfang Hongtian held the battle spear with both hands and stabbed it towards Han Ting. Han Ting became an emperor 450,000 years ago. His clan's history was very ancient, and his clan had always been extremely powerful. It was said that the bloodline of the innate human clan flowed in his clan. Back then, a portion of the innate human clan, such as the heavenly human clan and the immortal clan, entered the heaven realm and took control of it. Another portion of the innate human clan was scattered across the myriad worlds. Many of the innate human clan's bloodline became mediocre, and they spread their bloodline. This was the evolution of the human race. However, not all of the innate human clan scattered across the myriad worlds became mediocre. There was still a portion of the innate human clan's bloodline that remained. This was the case for Han Ting's Han clan. Chaotic Heaven Divine Fist! Han Ting roared. His black hair danced in the wind as he executed a peerless skill. His Chaotic Heaven Divine Fist could defy the heavens. Once executed, the momentum it created was truly shocking. Han Ting countered Dongfang Hongtian's battle spear with his iron fists. After 36 consecutive collisions, Dongfang Hongtian's battle spear finally couldn't hold on any longer, and was destroyed by Han Ting. Han Ting quickly arrived in front of Dongfang Hongtian and threw a punch at him. Han Ting was a boorish person. His moves seemed to match his appearance. They were bold and unrestrained, exuding a domineering aura. Facing Han Ting's punch, Dongfang Hongtian showed no fear. Dongfang Hongtian also threw out a powerful punch. Above his fist, the shadow of the Milky Way world lingered. This punch was called the Milky Way Divine Fist. When this punch was thrown out, Dongfang Hongtian seemed to be able to communicate with the power of the Milky Way. Bam, bam, bam! Then, Dongfang Hongtian and Han Ting collided. The two of them fought fiercely, and danger surrounded them. Lin Feng watched from below the stage with trepidation. This Dongfang Hongtian was truly too powerful. After all, this person had become a martial emperor 35 million years ago. He was so powerful that Han Ting was surrounded by danger several times. Lin Feng and the others watched with trepidation. They couldn't help but worry for Han Ting's safety. After a fierce battle, Dongfang Hongtian suddenly waved his hand, and countless silk threads shot toward Han Ting to entangle him. At such a close distance, it was already too late for Han Ting to dodge. The threads wrapped around Han Ting's body and wrapped around his entire body. This was the great entanglement art of the 3000 Great Tao. This divine ability could only be used at a special time. Otherwise, this divine ability might not work. Dongfang Hongtian had been looking for an opportunity to use the great entanglement art. After his battle with Han Ting, his magic power was greatly depleted, and so was Han Ting's body. After exchanging blows with Han Ting, both of them were sent flying by the force of each other's palms. Therefore, Dongfang Hongtian used the great entanglement art. After binding Han Ting's body with the great entanglement art, he waved his hand, and a snake-shaped flying sword flew out, slashing toward Han Ting. The snake-shaped flying sword was an emperor weapon. Dongfang Hongtian wanted to use this monarch armament to kill Han Ting. Oh no! Chapter 3045. Ha ha ha, this guy is finally going to die. I already knew that this guy was no match for Dongfang Hongtian. Now that he's finally going to be killed by Dongfang Hongtian, I'm so happy. Starting from this guy, Lin Feng and the rest will die one by one. Just wait and see. The cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces couldn't help but discuss excitedly. The battle between Peacock King and Heavenly Emperor Xingmia made the cultivators from the three forces feel a deep sense of defeat. Now that they saw that Dongfang Hongtian was about to kill Han Ting, these people immediately felt elated. The pressure in their hearts could finally be released. Just like Lin Feng and the rest, the 9 prefectures' cultivators' faces changed as they looked at Han Ting worriedly. Han Ting's current situation was extremely dangerous. However, they could only watch and couldn't do anything to help him. Once he stepped into the arena of death, his life and death would depend on his own ability. Just as Han Ting was about to be killed by the snake-shaped Emperor Sword, Dongfang Hongtian's lips curled into a cold expression. In his opinion, Han Teng, who was bound by the great entanglement art, would definitely die this time. Boom! But at this moment, something shocking happened. Han Teng kept chanting the incantation. The snake-shaped emperor sword that was about to behead had suddenly changed direction and slashed towards Dongfang Hongtian. This emperor weapon was Dongfang Hongtian's treasure. But now, it was being controlled by Han Teng. Weapon mantra! Lin Feng was shocked. This was definitely the weapon mantra, one of the 9 syllables of Taoism. It was an ability that was almost lost. Lin Feng had seen many powerful cultivators over the years, but he had only seen one person who knew how to use the weapon mantra. That person was the Great Ping King. In the past, the Great Ping King had used the weapon mantra. Lin Feng had also seen the Great Ping King use the weapon mantra before, so he knew how terrifying it was. Among the 9 syllables of Taoism, Lin Feng had learned the Lin mantra, but he hadn't learned the other 8. In fact, Lin Feng was very interested in the army mantra. If he could learn it, it would definitely be a heaven-defying ability. However, even though he had a close relationship with the Great Rock King, he should still rely on his own hard work when it came to cultivation, instead of relying on the kindness of the elders. If he did that, it would weaken his Tao heart instead. Thus, Lin Feng never mentioned this matter to the Great Ping King. Now, Lin Feng saw a second expert who knew the soldier word mantra. Han Teng was big and burly. He looked bold but not astute. But in reality, Han Teng was an extremely meticulous person. Every time he fought with Dongfang Hongtian, he would be prepared. The power of the snake-shaped emperor's sword was too strong. Furthermore, he was attacking Dongfang Hongtian at such a close distance. Although Dongfang Hongtian was powerful, he was unable to block the attack of the snake-shaped emperor's sword in time. No! Dongfang Hongtian roared in dissatisfaction. Puchi! A tearing sound could be heard. Then Dongfang Hongtian's head was chopped off. Han Teng rushed over. With a punch, Dongfang Hongtian's body exploded. Senior Han, please leave this person's source energy for me! Lin Feng shouted from below the stage. When the surrounding cultivators heard Lin Feng's words, they almost fell to the ground. In such an intense battle, the tension was suffocating. Yet this guy was still talking about Dongfang Hongtian's source energy. No one knew what was going on in his head. Han Teng nodded. He sealed Dongfang Hongtian's source energy. As for Dongfang Hongtian's storage ring and the snake-shaped emperor sword, Han Teng kept them. Han Teng flew down and handed Dongfang Hongtian's source energy to Lin Feng. Thank you, Senior Han! Lin Feng quickly thanked him. A smile bloomed on his face. Dongfang Hongtian's source energy might not be of much use to an expert like Han Teng, but to Lin Feng, who was a boundary emperor, it would definitely be of great use. At the very least, it could raise Lin Feng's cultivation by a few levels. Damn it! After losing 2 great emperors, the evil Lord Sage Scorpion and the others were extremely gloomy. Even they thought that Han Teng would be killed by Dongfang Hongtian. Who would have thought that Dongfang Hongtian would be killed by Han Teng instead? If Dongfang Hongtian did not use the snake-shaped emperor sword to deal with Han Teng, then Han Teng would definitely die in this battle. But it had already happened. And there were not so many ifs in this world. What happened was what happened. There was no way to change it. Swoosh! At this moment, Fire Crow Taoist flew into the sky and landed on the death arena. Let me kill this crow! Xingyue said. Then, he flew into the sky and flew towards the death arena. Seeing Xingyue taking action, the cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces were excited. Xingyue was an expert from the ancient era. His combat strength was extremely terrifying. As for Fire Crow Taoist, he had cultivated to the great emperor realm for tens of thousands of years. But compared to Xingyue, his foundation was much weaker. Therefore, everyone thought that this was the battle with the least suspense. Just a lowly crow. You don't even have the qualifications to be my opponent! Xingyue was extremely arrogant. He did not put Fire Crow Taoist in his eyes at all. His gaze towards Fire Crow Taoist was filled with contempt and disdain. Fire Crow Taoist's expression suddenly darkened. He sneered and said, "We will know after the battle. I'm afraid that you will bite your tongue if you speak now. Call! 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 Call!" As soon as he finished speaking, Fire Crow Taoist turned into a fire crow surrounded by flames. Then, he quickly flew towards Xinyueya and extended his sharp claws to grab Xinyueya. "God-shaking fist!" Xinyueya sneered and threw a punch towards Fire Crow Taoist. Bang! Both sides collided and terrifying power surged out. Fire Crow Taoist's magic power was almost scattered. His body was sent flying by the divine Euclif. Xinyueya was a cultivator from the ancient god race. His bloodline was powerful, his inheritance was powerful, and his talent was powerful. Moreover, he was a great emperor from the ancient era. He was indeed too terrifying. Xinyueya is indeed a great emperor from the ancient god race. His combat strength is too strong. That Fire Crow Taoist can't even block one move from Xinyueya. Ha ha! Let's see how that crow dies later. The cultivators from the myriad races, extraterritorial races, and other external forces laughed proudly. The cultivators from the 9 continents looked at the battlefield solemnly and worriedly. "Lowly crow, I'll take your life," Xinyueya sneered. He took a step forward and arrived in front of Fire Crow Taoist. He flipped his hand and an illusion of the heavenly sage great world condensed in his hand. The illusion of the heavenly sage great world suppressed Fire Crow Taoist. Chapter 3046. Xinyueya's methods were truly powerful. Fire Crow Taoist seemed to be unable to resist in front of Xinyueya. Facing Xinyueya's attacks, Fire Crow Taoist was currently exhausted. And this heavenly sage great world phantom was truly tyrannical. When it pressed down, its might was boundless. It was very likely that it could instantly kill Fire Crow Taoist. Lin Feng and the rest looked at the battle on the death arena with solemn gazes. They could not help but worry for Fire Crow Taoist. Boom! Just as the heavenly sage great world phantom was about to hit Fire Crow Taoist. But at this moment, Fire Crow Taoist's body emitted an incomparably terrifying aura. A large amount of holy light surged out from Fire Crow Taoist's chest. Following which, everyone saw a mysterious bone appear on Fire Crow Taoist's chest. No one knew the origin of that bone. Now that it was activated, it vibrated with terrifying fluctuations. Lin Feng was shocked. Fire Crow Taoist had refined the bone of a powerful being. Furthermore, the bone had already completely merged with his body. Now, this bone had already become Fire Crow Taoist's own bone. It was just like the Emperor bone in his body. Fire Crow Taoist could control the mysterious bone in his chest to fight against enemies. When that bone was activated, Fire Crow Taoist seemed to have changed into a different person. The aura on his body became extremely terrifying. That aura simply caused people to turn pale with fright. At this moment, Lin Feng even felt that Fire Crow Taoist seemed to have become the eternal ruler of this world. This caused Lin Feng to be extremely shocked. Just what kind of bone did Fire Crow Taoist refine? It was actually so extraordinary. It was truly shocking. At this moment, Fire Crow Taoist let out a long cry that shook the surroundings. His body returned to human form. Following which, Fire Crow Taoist waved his right fist and swept forward. The fist shook heaven and earth. The sun and moon collapsed. Such power! It was truly terrifying beyond compare. That invincible fist swept towards the heavenly sage great world phantom. With a bang, a muffled collision sound rang out. The heavenly sage great world phantom was directly shattered by Fire Crow Taoist. "Taste my Fire Crow Saint Ancestor fist!" Fire Crow Taoist's expression was indifferent as he stepped forward and locked onto Xinyueya. With that punch, it was as if the entire world was about to shatter. Such a tyrannical punch was truly shocking. Fire Crow Taoist's attack could be said to be peerless and invincible, causing people's hearts to tremble. Xin Yueya's expression suddenly changed. His strength was outstanding, so he could naturally feel the terror of this punch. The punch from the fire-crow Taoist gave him an extremely dangerous feeling. Xin Yueya wanted to dodge this attack. However, he realized that there was no way to avoid it. Therefore, he had no choice but to take on the terrifying punch of Taoist Flaming Crow. Xin Yueya's face suddenly sank when the peerless fist swept over. He no longer thought about dodging this punch, but took the initiative to meet it. No matter what, Xin Yueya was still an ancient existence. His combat strength was heaven-defying. He wouldn't be afraid in a real battle. Xin Yueya also punched out. The divine ability he used was called Ancient God's Divine Fist. It was a supreme fist technique passed down from the ancient god clan. Bang! Accompanied by a violent collision sound, the two sides suddenly collided fiercely. With the two of them colliding as the center, the void directly split open. Xin Yueya was directly blown away as if he was struck by lightning. After the mysterious bone in the fire-crow Taoist's chest recovered, his strength had sublimated to a level that would make others turn pale with fright. Even Xin Yueya was no match for the fire-crow Taoist. From this, one could see just how powerful the fire-crow Taoist was. How shocking was that? The fire-crow Taoist rushed forward and punched at Xin Yueya one after another. The fire-crow Taoist wanted to defeat Xin Yueya in one go. Xin Yueya roared and wanted to turn the situation around. However, after many attempts, it ended in failure. The power that Xin Yueya displayed before was naturally very terrifying. However, Xin Yueya's combat strength couldn't be compared to the fire-crow Taoist. In the end, the fire-crow Taoist relied on the support of the mysterious bone to defeat Xin Yueya, and directly killed him. "Senior, please leave behind your origin energy for me," Lin Feng happily said. The fire-crow Taoist nodded and sealed Xin Yueya's Grand Emperor's origin energy. Then, he flew down and gave the Great Emperor's original strength to Lin Feng. "How can this be? Why is the result of the battle like this?" Many cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other foreign forces were unable to accept what they were seeing. Xin Yueya was so powerful. He completely suppressed the fire-crow Taoist with just one move. Xin Yueya was so powerful that he could kill the fire-crow Taoist in less than 3 moves. However, the result was different from what everyone expected. With the help of the mysterious bone, the fire-crow Taoist turned the tables and successfully killed Xin Yueya. This was a huge blow to the cultivators of the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other foreign powers who were filled with anticipation. Whoosh! At this time, the Black Turtle Emperor flew out and landed on the arena of death. This was the 4th battle. This time, the Star Moon Emperor, Sikong Xian, also flew out. He was also a Grand Emperor from the ancient era. His combat strength was heaven-defying. Boom! The two of them didn't say much and started fighting. However, after a dozen rounds, the Black Turtle Emperor was no match for Sikong Xian and was sent flying. He couldn't help but vomit blood in midair. His face was as pale as a sheet. As an ancient Grand Emperor, Sikong Xian was indeed powerful and terrifying. If it were any other Grand Emperor, they would have been killed by Sikong Xian in no time. However, the Black Turtle Emperor was different. The Black Turtle Emperor wasn't good at offense, but defense. After he was injured by Sikong Xian, then, he transformed into his true body. A huge turtle shell protected his body. Sikong Xian's attacks landed on the Black Turtle Emperor's turtle shell continuously. However, none of them caused any damage to the Black Turtle Emperor. Sikong Xian sneered. "You think you can escape death with a turtle shell? This is simply wishful thinking." As soon as he finished speaking, Sikong Xian took out a powerful Grand Emperor weapon. It was a star hammer. Under Sikong Xian's control, the star hammer smashed towards the Black Turtle Emperor. With a loud clang, the star hammer smashed onto the Black Turtle Emperor's body. The star hammer contained a terrifying amount of power. Even if the Black Turtle Emperor had a tough turtle shell to protect his body, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. Clang! 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 The mighty star hammer smashed onto the Black Turtle Emperor's turtle shell for 36 consecutive times. Crack! Crack! Chapter 3047. When the Black Turtle Emperor's shell started to crack, the hearts of Lin Feng and the others sank to the bottom. They were in trouble. Was the Black Turtle Emperor going to be killed? Although Lin Feng wasn't very familiar with the Black Turtle Emperor, Lin Feng had a good impression of him. First, Fire Crow Taoist invited the Black Turtle Emperor to deal with the alien creatures. Although the Black Turtle Emperor knew it was dangerous, he agreed without hesitation. This showed that the Black Turtle Emperor was a very loyal person. Second, the Black Turtle Emperor took action for the sake of the billions of creatures in the 9 prefectures. This showed that the Black Turtle Emperor was a righteous person. Even if an expert like the Black Turtle Emperor didn't take action, no one would gossip about him. However, the Black Turtle Emperor chose to protect the 9 prefectures. This action was very admirable. Therefore, for the Black Turtle Emperor, Lin Feng had nothing but admiration in his heart. Now, the Black Turtle Emperor might die in the hands of Xikong Xian. Lin Feng's face turned ugly. He really hoped that the Black Turtle Emperor would be safe. However, this battle was hard to turn around. Ha ha ha, that old turtle is going to die. Does he think he can do it with a turtle shell? What a joke! Let's wait for a good show. That old turtle is going to be killed by Xikong Xian. Seeing that the Black Turtle Emperor was going to die, the cultivators of the 10,000 races, alien races, and other foreign forces started to discuss. In the previous 3 battles, they had lost 3 great emperors. These cultivators felt very sullen. Now, they could finally release some of the pressure in their hearts. You can die now! Later, I will use your black turtle origin to make a pot of turtle soup. It should be very nutritious. Xikong Xian sneered with killing intent. He continued to use the star hammer to attack the Black Turtle Emperor fiercely. The star hammer released an endless amount of power. It suddenly smashed down. Clang! That powerful attack once again slammed into the Black Turtle Emperor's body. Crack, crack. This time, the cracks on the Black Turtle Emperor's shell were even more severe. It had completely split open, and one could even see the flesh inside. Right now, the Black Turtle Emperor was in a miserable state. Xikong Xian grabbed the star hammer. Then, it fell from the sky. Then, he threw it at the Black Turtle Emperor, intending to kill him right there and then. A terrifying fluctuation surged out of the star hammer. A power that could destroy the heavens and the earth was brewing. Just as the peerless attack was about to land on the Black Turtle Emperor's body, suddenly, the Black Tortoise Emperor's body exploded with a boom. That world-destroying fluctuation surged out. Xikong Xian's expression abruptly changed. He never thought that the Black Tortoise Great Emperor would end his life in such a way. Xikong Xian quickly retreated, but he was still caught up in the explosion of the Black Turtle Emperor. Damn it! Seeing the Black Tortoise Emperor's self-destruction, Lin Feng and the others' faces turned ugly. Especially the Fire Crow Taoist, whose expression was extremely gloomy. The Black Turtle Emperor was his close friend. Now that he saw his friend explode, he was powerless to do anything. It was an extremely painful feeling. Ah! Xikong Xian's blood-curdling scream could be heard from the explosion of the Black Turtle Emperor. No one could ignore the explosion of a great emperor. No matter how powerful Xikong Xian was, he couldn't ignore it. However, Xikong Xian quickly charged out of the explosion of the Black Turtle Emperor. Half of Xikong Xian's body had exploded. He had lost an arm, a leg, and half of his left head. One could even see his white brain matter. Although he managed to avoid the explosion, Xikong Xian had suffered a near-fatal injury. The Black Turtle Emperor has fallen. Many people lamented. The Black Turtle Emperor had fallen just like that, causing the cultivators of the 9 states to feel extremely sad. 1. However, at this moment, a green light suddenly shot out from the explosion of the Black Turtle Emperor. A green light quickly flew out, and a palm-sized jade turtle floated in the middle of the green light. The jade turtle instantly charged to the side of the severely injured Sikong Xian. Then, the jade turtle slammed into Sikong Xian's body. A loud bang was heard. Sikong Xian's body exploded. Sikong Xian had died a horrible death. The jade turtle then sealed Sikong Xian's source energy. It's the heavenly soul jade turtle. It can protect a cultivator's soul from being destroyed, the great Pink King said in surprise. The restriction of the death arena dispersed, and the jade turtle flew out. My physical body has been destroyed. Now my soul is attached to the heavenly soul jade turtle. I'm going to try to refine the heavenly soul jade turtle into my own body. That was the Black Turtle Emperor's voice. At the most dangerous moment, the Black Turtle Emperor's soul entered the heavenly soul jade turtle. Therefore, when his body exploded, his soul was very lucky to be able to survive. There are only two outcomes for a soul that enters the heavenly soul jade turtle. The first is to fuse with the heavenly soul jade turtle. The second is to fail the fusion and be annihilated. The Demon Lord's voice rang out in Lin Feng's mind. Is the probability of successful fusion high? Lin Feng asked through voice transmission. Very low. The probability is less than 1 in 1,000, the Demon Lord said. After hearing the Demon Lord's words, Lin Feng's expression changed. Didn't that mean that the Black Turtle Emperor's chances of survival were less than 1 in 1,000? Clearly, the 9 States' 5 emperors knew this. Therefore, they were in low spirits. Brother, thank you for your hard work, the Fire Crow Taoist said. I was born and raised in the 9 States. I have no regrets even if I die to protect the 9 States, the Black Turtle Emperor said. After hearing the Black Turtle Emperor's words, Lin Feng was even more moved. He had mixed feelings, said the great Emperor of the Black Turtle, handing the original strength over to Lin Feng. Keep it and refine it. Become a great emperor as soon as possible. The 9 States needs a new emperor, the Black Turtle Emperor said. Thank you, Senior. This junior will not let you down. I will become a great emperor as soon as possible. Lin Feng did not refuse. After accepting the source energy, he said in a heavy voice. The Black Turtle Emperor nodded. Then, he entered a small world controlled by the Fire Crow Taoist. His divine soul could not hold on any longer. He needed to try fusing with the heavenly soul jade turtle as soon as possible. It was a last-ditch effort. The cultivators watching the battle from afar were speechless for a long time. Even the cultivators from the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces were speechless at this moment. In such a one-sided battle, Sikong Xian was killed. This was a heavy blow to their hearts. This battle was too tragic. Perhaps the Black Turtle Emperor would also fall in the end. The myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other external forces hoped that the Black Turtle Emperor would fail in fusing with the heavenly soul jade turtle and die. The cultivators of the 9 States hoped that the Black Turtle Emperor would succeed and be reborn. Whoosh! At this moment, the Stone Puppet King soared into the sky and flew toward the arena of death. Chapter 3048. The Stone Puppet King was as domineering as an immortal god of war. In the past, the Stone Puppet King was extremely powerful. This was because he was already a peerless powerhouse of the Stone Clan. If not for a problem in his cultivation, he wouldn't have taken so long to recover. The problem with his body had caused his cultivation to plummet. However, with the help of Lin Feng's ancestor, Lin Qi, the Stone Puppet King's life force had taken a leap forward. Although his cultivation had fallen, the Stone Puppet King's life force had transformed. This was a huge change. For the Stone Puppet King, this was naturally something worth celebrating. Now that the Stone Puppet King was on the right track, if nothing unexpected happened, his cultivation would definitely surpass his peak. Even though his current combat strength was far from being comparable to when he was at his peak, the Stone Puppet King was still very powerful. Previously, the Stone Puppet King had clashed with the myriad race great emperors. The myriad race great emperors could do nothing to him. Seeing the stone puppet king enter the arena, the evil scorpion lord and the others couldn't help but frown. Ordinary great emperors wouldn't have the courage to challenge the stone puppet king. Keek, stone puppet king! I've heard of your extraordinary abilities. It's rare to see a stone puppet body transform into a body of flesh and blood. Your stone essence must be extremely powerful. At this moment, Su Tianqing let out a sinister laugh. Then, he stepped forward and flew toward the arena of death. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown when he saw that it was Su Tianqing who was fighting the stone puppet king. Su Tianqing had broken out of the stone and mastered some strange techniques. He was an extremely difficult opponent. Now that Su Tianqing was fighting the stone puppet king, Lin Feng couldn't help but worry for the stone puppet king. You want my stone essence? Let's see if you have what it takes, the stone puppet king said coldly. Boom! The stone puppet king attacked, charging towards Su Tianqing with lightning speed. His body moved, and thunder rumbled around him. It was as if millions of thunderbolts were rumbling through the clouds. The void shook. The stone puppet king's invincible fist blasted towards Su Tianqing. It's been a long time since I've had a good workout. Today, I can finally stretch my muscles, Su Tianqing said sarcastically. In the face of the stone puppet king's attack, he remained calm and sent a palm strike at the stone puppet king. Bang! Along with the sound of violent collisions, the stone puppet king and Su Tianqing clashed. Thud, 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 immediately after. Both of them took 3 steps back in midair. The stone puppet king was terrifying. However, Su Tianqing was also extremely terrifying. This person was an expert from the ancient Chaos era. Not only did he grasp some of the techniques of the Heavenly Master lineage, but he also grasped many of the techniques of the Earth Master lineage. As for itself, this person's combat strength was also abnormally strong. Such a terrifying existence had made a move. It would be too difficult for the Stone Puppet King to defeat Su Tianqing. Of course, the Stone Puppet King also possessed many terrifying means. So what was the final result of this battle? It was hard to say. Rock Dragon Slash! The Stone Puppet King attacked again, condensing a powerful attack. Groan. A high-pitched dragon roar resounded throughout the world. A huge dragon appeared. It was a huge stone dragon. The stone dragon's body seemed to contain the power to destroy the world. The stone dragon pounced toward the Stone Puppet King. In midair, the stone dragon turned into a terrifying killing light. It was a dragon-shaped killing light. As if it could destroy the world. The terrifying dragon-shaped killing light instantly arrived in front of Su Tianqing, wanting to split him in half. At this moment, Su Tianqing laughed sinisterly and said, "You're really strong, but your moves are useless against this old man. Today, I'll let you have a taste of this old man's ultimate technique." As soon as Su Tianqing's voice fell, he directly displayed a powerful divine ability. This divine ability was called the Great Heaven Descending Technique. It was an extremely heaven-defying divine ability. Moreover, this divine ability was very special when used against cultivators of other races. The power of this divine ability was, of course, extremely tyrannical. However, the most terrifying thing about this divine ability was its damage to the Stone Clan. When used against Stone Clan cultivators, this divine ability would erupt with power dozens of times stronger than usual. This was also why Su Tianqing knew that the Stone Puppet King was so powerful. This was why Su Tianqing still dared to attack the Stone Puppet King. These cultivators were mutually reinforcing and restraining each other, and Su Tianqing's technique just happened to restrain the Stone Puppet King. This was too terrifying. This heavenly god descending technique directly condensed a ball of divine light, which quickly flew forward. When the ball of divine light collided with the dragon-shaped killing light, in an instant, the dragon-shaped killing light was shattered. Then, the ball of divine light blasted toward the Stone Puppet King. The Stone Puppet King's expression suddenly changed. He never expected Su Tianqing's divine ability to be so tyrannical. Explode! Seeing that the Stone Puppet King actively dodged the attack of the ball of divine light, Su Tianqing hurriedly urged the ball of divine light to self-destruct. A loud rumble was heard. In an instant, a destructive wave of energy surged out. The stone puppet king was blown away by the energy aftermath of the ball of divine light's self-destruction. Many cracks appeared on the stone puppet king's body, and blood immediately flowed out. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng and the others' expressions became even more solemn. It seemed that, as they had guessed, it would not be easy to deal with Su Tianqing. Now, in the confrontation with Su Tianqing, even the stone puppet king was injured. Su Tianqing is truly worthy of being the ancestor of the Earth Master branch. His technique is able to restrain the stone puppet king. Maybe he can really kill it. Previously, we sent out several great emperors but failed to kill the stone puppet king. Now, the stone puppet king might be killed by a cultivator from the 9 states. This is so satisfying. Ha ha ha, if Su Tianqing really kills the stone puppet king, it would be equivalent to making a great contribution. Su Tianqing is a wise man who submits to circumstances. He chose to cooperate with us and will receive endless benefits in the future. Those forces and cultivators who oppose us will all die without a grave when the final battle comes. The surrounding cultivators could not help but discuss spiritedly. The 9 states cultivators' expressions were extremely unsightly. First, because the stone puppet king was suppressed. Second, because Su Tianqing, who attacked the stone puppet king, was also a cultivator from the 9 states. Now, the 9 states cultivators hated Su Tianqing to the bone. Even if that old thing dies 1,000 times, it won't be regrettable, a 9 states cultivator coldly said. Above the arena of death, Su Tianqing walked step by step toward the stone puppet king and said sinisterly, "Stone puppet king, you're very strong, but now that you've met me, you're destined to meet a tragic end. Are you ready to die?" As soon as he finished speaking, Su Tianqing's hands formed a series of hand seals as he began to condense a new divine ability. Waves after waves of destructive energy surged out. At this moment, Su Tianqing's divine ability was even more powerful. Clearly, Chapter 3049. The ability Su Tianqing was using this time was called the Supreme Heaven's Slash of Stone. It was an extremely terrifying ability that defied the natural order of things. Once it was used, it would cause an unimaginable amount of damage. It was the same as the previous ability. This great Heaven's Slash stone path was especially harmful to the stone skins. The stone skins would suffer an unprecedented amount of damage from this attack. Because the Earth Master lineage possessed many wondrous techniques, the experts of this lineage often ventured into all sorts of dangerous places. In their many expeditions, the ancestors of this lineage had encountered more than one stone tribe member. In order to deal with these stone tribe members, the ancestors of this lineage had painstakingly created these abilities to restrain the stone tribe members. These inheritances dealt too much damage to the stone tribe members. Now that Su Tianqing wanted to end the battle as quickly as possible, he did not hold back at all and used his most powerful ability to deal with the stone puppet king. As soon as the Supreme Heaven Slash stone path was unleashed, a dazzling killing light condensed between the heavens and the earth. That beam of killing light contained destructive power. It was infused with the power of the Supreme Heaven. This was an extremely noble power between heaven and earth, and its strength was unimaginable. On top of that, a series of mysterious images also appeared within the murderous light. One after another, stone tribe creatures appeared in the images. There were stone men, stone demons, stone beasts, and so on. But in the end, the dazzling killing light tore their bodies apart and killed them on the spot. The killing light that appeared in the image was the supreme killing light condensed by the Supreme Heaven Slash Stone Tao divine ability. This divine ability was absolutely a terrifying divine ability that could be called heaven-defying. None of the stone tribe members seemed to be able to resist the attack of this divine ability. The stone puppet king also sensed the power of this ability. But the stone puppet king had lived 2 lives. He had experienced life and death. The stone puppet king, who had completed his metamorphosis, had seen, heard, an experience far more than an ordinary person could compare to. What kind of storms had the Stone Puppet King not seen? In the past, the Stone Puppet King had even killed cultivators far stronger than himself. The pressure he had to endure back then was many times greater than what he was experiencing now. A divine ability created specifically for my Stone Clan is indeed extraordinary. The Stone Puppet King's voice was cold. There is a stone hall in the holy land of my Geomaster lineage. Do you know how it was built? The reason why my Geomaster lineage has been able to endure for so long is because this stone hall continuously devours the chi of heaven and earth, protecting my Geomaster lineage, Su Tianqing said sinisterly. Under his control, the killing light shrouded in endless scenes of slaughter had already arrived before the Stone Puppet King. He wanted to kill the Stone Puppet King. Su Tianqing, aren't you getting complacent a little too early? Today, I'll let you experience a supreme technique that I've comprehended after experiencing 2 lifetimes. In the face of Su Tianqing's powerful attack, the Golem King roared and let out a cry. The stone chi behind the Stone Puppet King roiled violently. The tumbling stone chi emitted an incomparably terrifying fluctuation. A loud rumbling sound came out from the stone chi. It sounded like the sound of thousands of soldiers and horses trampling through the sky. Stone Clan Army, flatten all worlds. Following that, a series of low and deep voices sounded from within the stone chi, accompanied by the low and deep voices. Very quickly, the densely packed Stone Tribe army rushed out. The Stone Clan army consisted of stone men, stone demons, stone beasts, and even stone soldiers. Everything in their path was destroyed. The Yin soldiers did not even cause as much of a commotion as the Stone Clan army. The Stone Clan were all extraordinarily talented beings. Since the beginning of the epoch, the Stone Clan army had occupied a very small proportion in the long river of time. In an era, a great world could only give birth to a few Stone Clansmen. Some medium worlds, small worlds, and ordinary planets with life. It might take 2 or more eras to give birth to one Stone Clansman. From this, one could see how difficult it was for the Stone Clan to be born. Still, the Stone Clan was too terrifying. It was unimaginable for the Stone Clan to form an army. Yet, the Stone Puppet King had created such a powerful divine ability. Once it was used, the Stone Clan army could be formed. Bam! Wherever the Stone Clan army passed, the void collapsed. Su Tianqing's divine ability was destroyed in an instant. Then, the Stone Clan army charged at Su Tianqing. What a powerful divine ability! The Stone Puppet King is truly terrifying. The King of Stone Clansmen is not just for show. Maybe Su Tianqing will be killed by the Stone Puppet King. The cultivators of the 9 states discussed excitedly. They had been worried about the Stone Puppet King. Now that they saw the Stone Puppet King use a peerless divine ability to turn the situation around, they were excited. On the other hand, the cultivators of the myriad races, extraterrestrial races, and other foreign factions wore gloomy expressions. They had hoped that Su Tianqing could kill the Stone Puppet King. They had thought that he could do it. But now, it seemed that Su Tianqing would be killed by the Stone Puppet King. Su Tianqing also felt the terror of the Stone Clan army. He quickly retreated, putting some distance between himself and the Stone Clan army. Then, he took out a powerful defensive treasure to block the Stone Clan army's attack. Among the defensive magic treasures, there were even some supreme treasures on the level of Emperor weapons. There were also a few defensive magic treasures forged from bronze. Su Tianqing really had a lot of treasures on him. However, even with those defensive treasures, Su Tianqing could not stop the Stone Clan army's attack. He had experienced 2 lives. He had comprehended life and death. The Stone Puppet King had created this supreme divine ability. How could it be broken so easily? The Stone Clan army crushed the sky, their momentum shaking the heavens. Anyone who was targeted by the Stone Clan army would probably fall into despair. Bang, 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 bang. Violent collisions were heard. Some of the treasures the Stone Puppet King took out were sent flying by the Stone Clan army, while others were directly destroyed by the Stone Clan army. The Stone Clan army did not slow down, and continued to charge at Su Tianqing. No! No! Su Tianqing roared, his face full of horror. He wanted to resolve the crisis in front of him. However, now, he was at his wits' end. There seemed to be a huge gap between any means and the Stone Clan army. The Stone Tribe army rushed forward, crushing towards Su Tianqing. Bam! Unable to withstand the Stone Clan army's crushing force, Su Tianqing's body shattered. Chapter 30-50. Dead! Su Tianqing is dead! Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. Lin Feng and the Geomaster lineage had an irreconcilable relationship. Now that Su Tianqing had been killed by the Stone Puppet King, Lin Feng was naturally overjoyed. Su Tianqing's death meant that Lin Feng had one less great enemy. It's good that he's dead. I couldn't stand that old bastard for a long time. He's finally dead. The Stone Puppet King is domineering. The Stone Puppet King is invincible. The cultivators of 9 provinces raised their arms and cheered excitedly. The cultivators of the myriad races, Outer Realm races, and other foreign factions wore gloomy expressions. Their eyes flickered with cold light. 5 battles in a row. They were all great emperors on their side. It was too depressing, making them want to go crazy. The Stone Puppet King flew down. He gave Su Tianqing's origin to Lin Feng. Lin Feng needed the Great Emperor's essence, so he didn't refuse. He took the Great Emperor's essence and thanked Stone Puppet King. Lin Feng now had 4 balls of Great Emperor's origin. He could refine them after this battle. Only he and the Great Pink King hadn't fought yet. Sacred Scorpion Evil Lord! Let's continue our previous battle! The Great Pink King soared into the sky and landed on the arena of death. He took the initiative to challenge the Evil Lord. Back when the Evil Lord recruited the evil dragons of the Evil Dragon Sea region, he wanted to take the opportunity to destroy Lin Feng's Dragon Gate. The Great Pink King arrived in time and fought with the Evil Lord. The Evil Lord couldn't defeat the Great Pink King, so he fled. At that time, the Evil Lord had just recovered to the Great Emperor realm. His battle strength was far from recovered. Now, the Evil Lord couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. His battle strength was heaven-defying. Reckless fool, you dare challenge me? Since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The Evil Lord's voice was cold. He also flew to the arena of death and landed on it. Lin Feng and the others could not help but frown. They didn't expect the Great Rock King to take the initiative to challenge the Holy Scorpion Evil Lord. The current Holy Scorpion Evil Lord was simply too strong. Could the Rock King kill the Saint Scorpion Evil Emperor by himself? Lin Feng and the others were naturally worried for the Great Rock King. Lin Feng had thought that after 7 battles, he would kill 7 Great Emperors and then use the deployment spells to kill the remaining Great Emperors. With how cunning the Holy Scorpion Evil Lord was, this fellow would definitely not accept the challenge. It wouldn't be too late to deal with the Holy Scorpion Evil Lord after dealing with the other 7 Great Emperors. But now, the result was beyond their expectations. The Great Pink King and the Evil Scorpion Lord were about to engage in a battle of life and death. Maybe it was because the Great Pink King felt that the Evil Scorpion Lord was too cunning. Maybe the Evil Scorpion Lord had a way to escape when they surrounded him. Therefore, the Great Rock King took the initiative to propose a battle to the death with the Evil Scorpion King. This way, the 2 of them would have to fight to the death before they could leave the death arena. Die! After the Evil Scorpion Evil Lord landed on the death arena, he started attacking the Great Rock King. The Evil Scorpion Evil Lord's huge claws clawed at the Great Rock King. This fellow's body was like a huge scorpion. His claws were extremely hard and contained lethal poison. Therefore, the Evil Scorpion Evil Lord was very good at close combat. Space freeze! The Great Rock King's voice was indifferent. The speed of his divine ability was simply too fast. The Evil Scorpion Evil Lord wanted to use his physical body to suppress the Great Rock King, but he was unable to stop the Great Rock King's divine ability. After the divine ability was used, it was as if the space had been sealed. The Great Rock King had many techniques, and seemed to have grasped some of the Space Ancient God's inheritance. Of course, there was more than one Space Ancient God in the titled God era. The Space Ancient God's inheritance in the Chonlu Demon Palace was the first-generation Space Ancient God's inheritance. As for which generation Space Ancient God's inheritance the Great Rock King received, Lin Feng was not sure. In the almost frozen space, the evil Scorpion Evil Lord's movements suddenly became extremely difficult. The Great Rock King quickly charged towards the evil Scorpion Evil Lord and slashed out a dazzling sword chi towards the evil Scorpion Evil Lord, wanting to kill him. Boom! At this moment, the evil Scorpion Evil Lord's body emitted an extremely terrifying aura. Domineering aura! The evil Scorpion Evil Lord actually used domineering aura. And it was green domineering aura. This was the 7th stage of domineering aura. The domineering aura at this stage was extremely terrifying. It was on the same level as Lin Feng's white tiger domineering aura. The evil Scorpion Evil Lord's domineering aura instantly dissolved the Great Rock King's space freeze divine ability. Whoosh! With a flash of cold light, the evil Scorpion Evil Lord's scaly scorpion tail suddenly swung and pierced towards the Great Rock King's chest. The tip of the scorpion tail was a poisonous stinger. The poisonous stinger flickered with a blue luster. It clearly contained a terrifying lethal poison. Once the lethal poison pierced into the body, anyone would be poisoned. The lethal poison of the foreign creatures was extremely terrifying. Once one was poisoned by the lethal poison of the foreign creatures, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens to survive. The Great Rock King's expression also changed slightly. He had no choice but to withdraw his attack and quickly retreat to avoid the evil Scorpion Evil Lord's scorpion tail. You've improved your cultivation. Among the demon clan, your talent is heaven-defying. Even compared to many of the demon clan's predecessors, you're not inferior at all. The only thing you can't compare to those people is that your cultivation time is too short. The evil Scorpion Evil Lord said sinisterly. The Great Rock King had cultivated for less than 1,000 years. To be honest, the Great Rock King's age was extremely young in the world of cultivators. If the Great Rock King was given time, the Great Rock King would definitely recreate the glory of the Great Rock clan. You're recovering very quickly. The Great Rock King frowned slightly. After a simple exchange, he roughly sensed how terrifying the evil Scorpion Evil Lord was. He was much stronger than a few years ago. My clan's recovery is naturally not something you can imagine, the evil Scorpion Evil Lord said with a sneer. He walked towards the Great Rock King step by step and said indifferently, Next, I'll let you experience my true ultimate skill. Immortal will, supreme of all worlds. The evil Scorpion Evil Lord couldn't help but shout coldly. Then, an incomparably terrifying aura surged out of his body. An endless evil aura emanated from his body and lingered around his body. The evil Scorpion Evil Lord floated in midair amidst the rolling evil aura. At this moment, he seemed to have become the ruler of all worlds. Countless creatures in all worlds had to kneel on the ground and kowed out to the evil Scorpion Evil Lord. Many cultivators watching the battle from the periphery couldn't even withstand the energy shockwaves emitted from the evil Scorpion Evil Lord's body. Plop! Plop! You're tuning into the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.